Chapter 593. Before they knew it, the sky had already darkened. Alright, it would be best if you do not train at night. The night here is filled with an invisible evil chi. If you are not careful, the evil chi will invade your mind and affect your mind. Yang Fengfeng was the first one to wake up from her meditation and wake the others up. Ling Tianhao said, Yi Chen is still training. Should we remind him? Hai Wuya chuckled, do not underestimate Yi Chen. His sword intent is the scariest I have ever seen. This bit of evil chi will not affect him at all. Plus, sword artists rarely go crazy. Their sword intent can kill the invading evil chi. In the center of the mountain, such a magical fruit. Not only does it contain a huge amount of natural power, it can also nourish the body and improve the dantian. After reaching the Sea of Soul's realm, the breakthrough in the realm would also be the breakthrough in the dantian. Once the dantian was improved, the breakthrough would come naturally. As for the mind control ability, Yi Chen had never lacked it before, which was also the reason why he could reach the Sea of Soul's realm so quickly. Sensing with his mind, Yi Chen could feel that his dantian was changing. As it changed, the Zhenyuan ocean inside was changing as well, becoming more and more pure. Every tiny bit of it had the power to pierce through mountains. If the whole Zhenyuan ocean exploded, it would definitely be able to turn everything within dozens of miles upside down. Shoo, shoo. As his dantian and Zhenyuan changed, more and more impurities were smelted out, flowing into Yi Chen's right hand through his meridians. Yi Chen's right hand shone with a blue light, which was mixed with a grayish-black qi. It had a corrosive property, causing the air to sizzle. I did not expect my Zhenyuan to have so many impurities, and they are corrosive as well. Yi Chen had thought that his Zhenyuan was already pure enough, and even if there were impurities, there would not be many. However, he did not expect that he would still be able to refine out impurities from his pure Zhenyuan. Moreover, these impurities were different from the impurities he had seen before. As for his dantian, it contained even more impurities, since it was the place to store Zhenyuan. Every time he made a breakthrough, his Zhenyuan would be purified, but there would still be some impurities hidden in the corners of his dantian. As time passed, Yi Chen's right hand was almost completely covered in that grayish-black qi, which was very frightening. If he were to battle with someone, this palm attack would be enough to wound the opponent severely. Yeah, my dantian is expanding, and my Zhenyuan is increasing as well. I should not be too far away from the breakthrough. Sensing the change in his dantian, Yi Chen took a deep breath and continued to circulate his Zhenyuan, speeding up the process. The next morning, pop. With the short mountain as the center, the natural yuan qi was messed up. Then, a shocking amount of yuan qi gathered into a yuan qi flow, passing through the surface of the mountain and pouring into Yi Chen's body. Meanwhile, Yi Chen's body was like an extremely precise machine, continuously converting the yuan qi flow into Zhenyuan. Breakthrough. Outside of the mountain, Yang Fengfeng and the rest could feel the natural change caused by Yi Chen. TSK. He is indeed worthy of being able to compete with the Dugu Ju Dantai Mingyu. Breaking through just like that. I wonder how much effort it took for me to reach mid-sea of Soul's realm. Hai Wuya praised. Inside the empty mountain, Yi Chen slowly opened his eyes. Two beams of cold lightning shot out as he threw out a palm attack onto the mountain wall in front of him. Pooh! The mountain wall seemed to have decayed as it softened down. So many corrosive impurities. Yi Chen was shocked. But, at least I have reached mid-sea of Soul's realm. The amount and quality of my Zhenyuan have increased to another level. For Yi Chen, every breakthrough was extremely precious. After reaching Sea of Soul's realm, the only thing he lacked was time. Yi Chen, you made a breakthrough? Yang Fengfeng and the other three walked in. Standing up, Yi Chen laughed, not bad. I did not waste the fruit. Your breakthrough is indeed fast. It only took you half a day. Yi Chen had closed up for training yesterday afternoon, and it was already the morning of the second day. Only 14 hours had passed, and the four thought that it would take him until this afternoon. Sorry for making everyone wait for so long. Let's go now. There was only 1 month in a year in the Savage Ruin ancient place, so the savage evil chi was sparse. Moreover, as the month went on, the savage evil chi would get thicker and thicker. Although Yi Chen was not afraid, he still had to think about Guan Qin and Ling Tianhao. Since that is the case, let's go. Yang Fengfeng nodded. After a night of rest, everyone was in a good condition. The area on the map was very far away. After 3 days, Yi Chen and the other 4 finally arrived at the edge of the area. According to the map, there is a small forbidden place 300 miles ahead. It is not a small forbidden place, and it is very dangerous. But, the more dangerous it is, the more rewards there will be. Yang Fengfeng opened the map and glanced at it before looking at the front. Fortune comes from danger. Since we are already here, how can we miss it? Hai Wuya laughed. Brother Hai is right. No one would complain about having more treasures. In fact, resources were sometimes more important than talent. Otherwise, why would there be so many martial geniuses in the big martial institutions? Although Yi Chen was not a disciple of a big martial institution, he had a lot of opportunities along the way. 300 miles was only a couple of breaths for the 5. This place was a massive volcano. The 5 stood on top of the volcano and looked down. It was obvious that the volcano was shockingly wide. It was more than 1,000 meters wide. If such a wide volcano were to explode, it would be a devastating disaster. There are a lot of minerals in the volcano, as well as some extreme young treasures. Yang Fengfeng was the first to enter the volcano. She was a descendant of the phoenix, so fire could not harm her at all. Instead, it could increase her battle power. Coming to the volcano was like coming home. The inside of the volcano was a massive space. The top of the volcano was more than 1,000 meters wide, and the bottom was dozens of li wide. As far as the eye could see, it was a golden lava lake. There were many huge black rocks on the surface of the lake, and on these rocks, there were some spirit plants. A few golden plants attracted Yi Chen's attention. Intense sungrass is not a precious spirit plant, but refining the shadowless poison's antidote requires it. The intense yang medicinal power can eliminate most of the poison. Shua. Flying down, Yi Chen picked a few intense sun grasses. The others also started moving. Hovering above a massive rock, Yang Fengfeng frowned. On the surface of the rock, there were some dents, which were left by harvesting the herbs. Judging from these dents, they were obviously made recently, as the edges and corners were very clear. Someone has been here. Yang Fengfeng came to a conclusion. Indeed, someone has been here. But, there is not even a single upper-grade fire cloudstone. Only some mid-grade and below. Hai Wuya was greatly disappointed. Fire cloudstone was an extremely precious spirit stone, containing a powerful flame power. Normally, it would be formed in volcanoes. However, ordinary volcanoes only had low-grade fire cloudstones. Mid-grade fire cloudstones would take at least several thousand years to form, and upper-grade fire cloudstones could only be found in volcanoes that had existed for tens of thousands of years. A huge battle took place here. Ling Tianhao found traces of battle on the inner walls of the volcano. Bad luck, let's go somewhere else. Yang Fengfeng flew out. Half a day later, Yang Fengfeng's face was unsightly. All the forbidden areas on the map have been entered by someone, and it was only recently. What a coincidence. Hai Wuya revealed a doubtful expression. Sucking in a deep breath, Yang Fengfeng said, "The other party should have a map just like me." She had already thought it through. The person who had sold her the map must have made a lot of copies. Although hers was the original, it did not make much of a difference. Yi Chen thought for a bit and said, "If we search the forbidden areas in order, we will only be one step behind the others. In my opinion, we should choose the furthest forbidden area first." Yi Chen is right. Hai Wuya's eyes shone. That's the only way. Yang Fengfeng felt that this method was feasible. Haha, no one has been to these forbidden areas indeed. Brother Yi is indeed smart. On top of a mine, Hai Wuya looked at the precious ores and spirit plants growing along with them, and could not help but laugh. Starting from the furthest forbidden area, the 5 explored several forbidden areas. The forbidden areas of the savage ancient place were indeed dangerous. But, with the 5 working together, there was no situation they could not deal with. Each of them had a bountiful harvest. I have already found more than half of the materials for the shadowless poison. Perhaps I can get more. The shadowless poison was one of the most mysterious poisons in the world. Even life and death realm warriors could not cure it. It was not hard to imagine how rare and precious the materials for the antidote would be. After sweeping through this forbidden area, the five flew toward another forbidden area. 1,000 miles away, there was a huge underground cave, and one could faintly hear the roar of a dragon coming from it. Outside the cave, colorful yuan qi gathered into the shape of a dragon, circling and soaring. It was a grand scene. Many demonic beasts rushed into the cave, but soon, miserable cries rang out and stopped abruptly. Shoo! Shoo! A group of people flew over. Such a rich dragon qi. This place must be a dragon cave. This group of people was indeed the Sky Tiger race's Morchi Lu and the blue-eyed white wolf Ao family's Ao Wubai and the rest of them that Yang Fengfeng and the other four had met on their way to the savage ruin ancient place. Morchi Lu chuckled. There are a lot of dragon blood plants in the ruins, which are quite beneficial for us demi-beasts. If we can get the dragon bone jade marrow, it would be even better. Ao Wubai said, after so many years, the dragon bone jade marrow would have turned into fossils already. Although the chance is small, it is not impossible. Let's go in. Morchi Lu could sense that there were a lot of powerful beasts in the cave. He immediately activated his Zhen Yuan, and a fierce tiger shadow appeared behind him. It had a pair of wings on its back, and its pupils were gold in color. A blue-eyed white wolf shadow appeared behind Ao Wubai as well. Obviously, it was even more powerful than the warriors from the Ao family that Yi Chen had met before. It was even 4 to 5 times bigger, and there was no emotion in its blue eyes. As for the few people behind them, they were all demi-beasts as well. They all activated their bloodline shadows, some of them were bears, and some were eagles. After half an hour, another group of people arrived. It was Yi Chen and the other four. Dragon Qi. It is the Dragon Cave. Yang Fengfeng and Yi Chen were the first to sense the Dragon Qi in the sky. Chapter 594. Entering the cave, the five once again discovered that someone had entered first, and not too long before them. TSK, the strength of the newcomer is not weak at all. This is a fire dragon wolf, but it was killed in one claw attack. Even its skull was smashed. Hai Wuya squatted down and carefully identified the dead demonic beast. Fire dragon wolf, a demonic wolf with dragon bloodline. Everyone, be careful. The dragon qi here is extremely viscous, greatly weakening the detection of soul power. Yang Fengfeng's brows creased. Her soul power could only radiate out several hundred meters, and it was not a perfect circle, but rather irregular. Let's go this way. 2 forks appeared in front of them. One of the forks led for 1,000 meters, and there were a few demonic beast corpses. Yi Chen didn't want to encounter the group of people in front so early, so he chose the other fork. Roar. Indeed, no one had passed through this fork, and a thorn dragon lizard darted out. Courting death. Yang Fengfeng's right hand was wreathed in blue flames, turning into a huge green jade phoenix claw, which tore off the lizard's head. Don't judge a book by its cover. Yang Fengfeng looks noble and charming in her human form, but when she attacks, she is incomparably brutal. But it makes sense. Blue Phoenix is a demonic beast, and demonic beasts are more aggressive than humans. Yi Chen glanced at the lizard's corpse and smiled bitterly. The dragon cave was filled with dragon qi, and some powerful demonic beasts occupied this place, gradually absorbing the dragon qi and evolving the dragon bloodline. With the dragon bloodline, one's cultivation level wouldn't increase, but their battle prowess would increase. There were also some demonic beasts that already had the dragon bloodline, and they were like tigers that had grown wings. Continuing forward for 7 to 8 li, an extremely oppressive dragon claw demonic cow blocked in front of the 5. Its eyes were filled with a bloody light, looking ruthless and cruel. It could sense a trace of dragon power in Yi Chen's body, and Yang Fengfeng was even more powerful, as she had the pure blue phoenix power inside her body. If it could eat the 2 of them, its power would definitely reach the next level, and it would have a chance to become a half-step demonic beast king. Dragon claw demonic cow. I didn't expect to see it here. It's almost extinct outside. Unfortunately, The difficulty of taming a demonic beast with the bloodline of a dragon is much higher than other demonic beasts. Otherwise, I would have to injure it severely and bring it out of the savage, desolate ancient land. To tame a demonic beast, it was usually tamed from a young age. It was almost impossible to tame a demonic beast that had the bloodline of a dragon. So far, no one had ever heard of anyone successfully taming a demonic beast with the bloodline of a dragon. Roar. The dream-eating wolf barked in the familiar beast plate. It was more interested in the dragon claw demon cow than the thorny dragon lizard. The latter had only absorbed dragon energy and evolved the dragon bloodline. The former itself contained the dragon bloodline, and even its hooves had turned into dragon claws. The dragon claw devil cow was not easy to deal with. Seriously speaking, no one present was its opponent, but with 5 people joining forces, the dragon claw devil cow could only be beaten. Nirvana flame. Yang Fengfeng turned into her blue phoenix form and spat out a mouthful of blue-red flame, hitting the dragon claw demonic bull's head. Poochie. The dragon claw demon cow's terrifying defense was burned through, and part of its brain was burnt. Endless vitality. Holding the thunder disaster sword, Yi Chen struck the dragon claw demonic bull's chest for the 12th time. The sword tip pierced deeply, piercing through its heart. The dragon claw demonic bull's vitality was extremely tenacious. Before its death, its huge dragon claw waved at Yi Chen, locking down the space around it. Break. His left index finger pointed at the frozen void, and Yi Chen pierced through it, avoiding the claw attack. Missing its target, the dragon claw demonic bull's vitality was completely exhausted, and it fell to the ground. This demonic bull deserves to die. It actually wounded me so badly. Among the 5, Yi Chen, Yang Fengfeng, and Hai Wuya were engaged in close combat with the dragon claw demonic bull, while Ling Tianhao and Guan Qin were assisting from afar. Yang Fengfeng's speed was unparalleled, so the dragon claw demonic bull naturally couldn't do anything to her. Yi Chen's dodging ability was also outstanding, allowing him to narrowly avoid every attack. Hai Wuya, on the other hand, was not so lucky. The dragon claw demonic bull's claw landed on his chest. If not for Yang Fengfeng's timely assistance, this claw would have ripped out all of his ribs and shattered all of his internal organs. Fortunately, I got a Heaven Yuan white fruit earlier. Otherwise, I would have no choice but to return home. Sucking in a cold breath, Hai Wuya swallowed a chicken egg-sized white fruit. This Heaven Yuan white fruit was originally meant to save his life in the future, and he was really reluctant to use it. However, compared to the treasures in the Dragon Cave ruins, it was necessary to give up a Heaven Yuan white fruit. After a quarter of an hour, Hai Wuya was completely healed, and the 5 continued forward. That green-scaled draconic lion was really scary. It took the 6 of us to work together to kill it. In another cave, a half-beast young man said with lingering fear. Morchi Lu said, the green-scaled draconic lion was indeed powerful, but unfortunately, it was facing us. The green-scaled draconic lion's battle power was even higher than the dragon claw demonic cow's, and the cow-type demonic beast's battle talent was still weaker than the lion-type demonic beasts. After not seeing each other for a few months, Brother Morchi's heavenly tiger bloodline has become even purer. I'm afraid it's not far from completion. Ao Wubai and Morchi Lu were partners, but also competitors. In the battle with the green-scaled draconic lion just now, the scene of Morchi Lu smashing the latter's head with one claw was extremely terrifying. Ao Wubai guessed that Morchi Lu's strength might be a bit higher than his. Of course, in a battle of life and death, it was still uncertain who would win. Morchi Lu smiled and said, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been able to do anything to it. If I'm not wrong, you've already condensed a trace of the blue-eyed white wolf's power. With that, you can transform into a werewolf in a short time. Hehe, isn't Brother Morchi the same? The ultimate form of a half-beast was to transform into a half-beast. Half-human, the other half-demonic beast. This way, their battle power would be at its peak. After a while, 2 more forks appeared in front of the 6. So many forks, we're almost 100 li underground. Yi Chen's side was also faced with many choices, so they could only follow their instincts. Forks after forks, choices after choices. Unknowingly, the 5 of them had reached even deeper underground. There were no more forks in front of them, only a vast underground world. This world contained many ferocious phenomena. There was underground magma, bone-corroding poisonous water, bone-scraping divine winds, and flocks of blazing dragon birds flying in the sky. This magma is a bit special. Blaze dragon birds never come to this side. Hai Wuya sensed something strange. Swish. Yi Chen flicked his hand and shot out a piece of iron fragment. It was as fast as light, but once it reached the magma river, it immediately fell down and melted into ashes. Super strong gravity. Yi Chen frowned. It is just magma. What kind of magma could break through our protective Jinyuan? Ling Tianhao did not care at all. Yang Fengfeng glanced at Ling Tianhao. Brother Ling, if you had come here alone, you would have most likely died here. This lava is not normal lava, and it is not even lava at all. It is the dragon flame formed by the firepower after being highly compressed. Dragon flame? Yi Chen and the other three were shocked. Yang Fengfeng explained, dragons are the legendary beasts, and most of them can breathe fire, which is the dragon flame. Once a bit of it is diluted, it can turn into a sea of fire. In terms of pure destructive power, even my phoenix ancestor would not be able to compete with it. This is the natural power of dragons. This is indeed horrifying. Everyone was clear that even the most gentle water could explode with horrifying power after being compressed, not to mention the dragon flame. Then, how do we get there? Guan Qin tilted her head and asked. Yang Fengfeng chuckled, you guys have forgotten that my original form is a blue phoenix. The firepower will not harm me at all. Although the dragon flame is horrifying, it is not from the mouth of a dragon. There are some differences between the two. I will bring you guys over. As she spoke, she jumped into the air, turning into a massive blue phoenix. Her whole body was covered in blue flames, looking very noble and powerful. Come on. Under normal circumstances, Yang Fengfeng would not carry anyone. But now was an exception. Hearing her, the five jumped onto the blue phoenix's back. Shoo! Yang Fengfeng flapped her wings and flew toward the other side of the lava river. On the way, Yang Fengfeng could not resist the attraction of the lava river and was forced to fly close to it. That horrifying dragon flame and blue flame cancelled each other out, and nothing happened. Soon, the five arrived at the other side of the magma river. 500 miles away from here, Morchi Lu and Ao Wubai were also blocked by the magma river, unable to move forward. It is just a magma river. Watch me. The half-beast teenager with the massive black eagle on his back extended his body and flew out at an extreme speed, wanting to reach the other side in one breath. Before he could reach the center of the magma river, the half-beast teenager fell straight down and was burned into nothingness by the magma river. His voice stopped abruptly. Impossible. What kind of magma is this? Apart from Morchi Lu, Ao Wubai and the other three turned pale with fright. A pondering expression flickered in Morchi Lu's eyes. It can't be the dragon flame, right? Morchi Lu thought of something and blurted out. Brother Morchi, does the dragon flame you mentioned have something to do with dragons? Not many people knew about the dragon flame. After all, dragons were demonic beasts of legends, and most people had only read about them in ancient books. Morchi Lu said, the dragon flame is the most powerful flame power. Its destructive power is not inferior to the phoenix flame. A trace of the dragon flame is enough to burn all of us into ashes. Then, we can only watch from here. Everyone understood that there must be treasures in front of them. Who would want to be blocked outside? Frowning, Morchi Lu said, I don't know how long this dragon flame has existed. Its power is certainly not as strong as before. Let's see how powerful its destructive power is first. Morchi Lu took out an upper-grade artifact from his storage ring and threw it into the magma river. Swoosh! The upper-grade artifact that even Sea of Soul Realm experts couldn't destroy melted at a visible speed, turning into ashes in the blink of an eye. Seeing this scene, everyone held their breaths. A blink of an eye is enough for us to borrow power. But, according to the width of the magma river, we'll have to waste 5 upper-grade artifacts each. Let's go all out. You can't catch the wolf without risking it. Right. There must be some rare treasures inside. We can't miss it. As one of the top geniuses of the Sky Marshal region, the five had quite a bit of wealth. They didn't lack upper-grade artifacts. Of course, they would definitely feel heartache. Even if they couldn't use them, they could still be sold for hundreds of thousands of upper-grade spirit stones. Just like that, the five smoothly crossed the magma river. Chapter 595. Damn it. These crazy birds. Just after crossing the lava river, Morchi Lu and the other four were attacked by a group of crazy flaming dragon birds. After breaking through the blazing dragon birds' encirclement, a black river blocked their way. This black river was like ink, and it was extremely dense. When the wind blew past, it didn't even cause a ripple. On the shore, there were a few white bone boats. The river is poisonous. Get on the boat. Morchi Lu saw an injured flaming dragon bird fall into the river with his own eyes. When Morchi Lu and the other four got on the boat, Yi Chen and the rest had already reached the center of the river. I did not expect that there would be white bone boats on this bone-corroding poison river. So thoughtful. These flaming dragon birds are also staring at us, not daring to come down. The five picked 2 boats. Yang Fengfeng, Ling Tianhao, and Guan Qin were on one boat while Yi Chen and Hai Wuya were on the other. Yi Chen laughed. They are afraid of the bone-corroding poison water. Once touched by a little bit, they would be completely destroyed. Therefore, they do not dare to get close to the river. Why do I feel like these flaming dragon birds are whispering to each other? Hai Wuya glanced at the flaming dragon birds in the sky and frowned. Boom. Just as Hai Wuya finished speaking, an extremely malevolent black crocodile appeared on the surface of the black river near the boat. This was the poison dragon crocodile. It was incomparably venomous, and anyone who was poisoned by it could not be saved. For some reason, it did not ram the white bone boat. Gold resonant radiance soared. Yi Chen's reaction shocked Hai Wuya. The second the black crocodile jumped out of the water, a slightly wide sword-shaped light wave shot out like a crescent moon. It was indeed Yi Chen who had waved the sword. Swoosh. The poison dragon crocodile's defense was not that high, way weaker than the other crocodile-type beasts. After being beheaded by one sword attack, its tensed body fell down hard, the black river corroding its body through the wound. Before Yi Chen could let out a breath, more poison dragon crocodiles jumped out, shooting out black venom toward the two from all directions. Rise. Hai Wu Ya circulated his Jin Yuan, wanting to lift the white bone boat into the air. However, it was as if the white bone boat had taken root, sticking to the river and not moving at all. Hai Wu Ya finally understood why the poison dragon crocodile didn't knock the boat over. It turned out that for some unknown reason, the boat could only move forward and backward. It was impossible to knock it over. Boundless 4 directions. Seeing that the boat was unable to rise, Hai Wuya spun around and sent out a palm strike in all directions. The palm winds condensed into a wall, blocking the poison outside. Yi Chen did not stay idle either. His sword-shaped light wave shot out along the surface of the river. When he had reached the mid-sea of Soul's realm, he had a sudden inspiration, and his gold profound had reached the next level. It had pushed his gold resonant radiance sword art beyond its limit, reaching 110% completion. It had already deviated from its original form, and was slowly evolving into a light wave. Yi Chen knew that it was because his sword attack was at a low level, while his gold profound was at a high level. But of course, no matter what, his gold resonant radiance sword art was indeed much more powerful than before. Puff, 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 puff. The light wave flashed once, and one after another, the poison dragon crocodiles sank into the river. On the other side, Yang Fengfeng used her blue phoenix fire to cover the white bone boat while using her palm blade to attack the crocodiles, looking just as easy. The main character is here. The black river that had not been moving at all started to have huge bubbles. The surface of the river was filled with swirls, making a loud noise. Boom. Within the black water column that shot into the sky, a poison dragon crocodile with a wriggling body jumped out of the water. It looked like a flood dragon, but not a crocodile. Its body was extremely long, looking like a combination of a flood dragon and a crocodile. On its tail, there was even a row of thorns. Pap! The air had been ripped apart. This poison dragon crocodile waved its tail, attacking toward Yi Chen's boat in the air. Get the fuck back. Hai Wuya liked to fight head-on. He flipped his right hand and threw out a palm attack. His palm power was as powerful as ocean waves. Boom. A loud sound was heard as the poison dragon crocodile's tail and Hai Wuya's palm were locked in a stalemate. Break. Yi Chen seized the opportunity and pointed his finger at the crocodile's eye, piercing through it. Woo. Woo. The poison dragon crocodile was extremely furious, so it lifted up its hind leg that was closest to Yi Chen. Its sharp claws shone with a cold light as it attacked over. Crossing the two swords in front of each other, Yi Chen blocked out the claw attack of the crocodile leader while throwing back a thunder ball. Phoenix Peck. Yang Fengfeng's right hand turned into a blue jade phoenix claw. The tip of the claw closed together, and a beam of flame shot out, piercing through the crocodile's other eye. Without both of its eyes, the poison dragon crocodile had a lot of battling power, but it could not use it to its full potential. Soon, it escaped into the Black River and disappeared. After crossing the Black River, the five reached the shore. In front of him was a grey gale. It was extremely dense, carrying a faint grey crystal silk. Yi Chen threw out a top-rank artifact, which was immediately riddled with holes. Fortunately, it did not shatter. There are not a lot of grey crystal strings here. If we are careful, we should be fine. The five of them glanced at each other, then rushed into the gale. Inside the Black River, I did not expect this level to be so much easier than the Lava River. There are only some weak defensive poison dragon crocodiles. Morchi Lu and the other four thought that they would run into more danger, so they were very nervous. But they did not expect that they would make it to the other side without any danger. Getting on the shore, the five observed the wind for a while before jumping in as well. Be careful. There are wind spirits inside. Just then, countless wind blades attacked toward Yang Fengfeng, but she dodged them with her extreme speed. Within the intense wind, there seemed to be a human figure with a similar color to the wind. The human figure seemed to be floating in the air, seeming to have merged with the wind, making it hard to be seen. Yang Fengfeng was about to perform her Nirvana flame when a powerful destructive sword intent spread out in all directions. The wind spirits that were close to it shrieked before their bodies disappeared. The ones that were further away had their bodies turn blurry as they tried to escape, not daring to get close to the five at all. This sword intent. It has the destructive will? Yang Fengfeng and the other three looked at Yi Chen with surprise. Yi Chen was the nemesis of this kind of natural life form. His peak level rank 4 destruction sword intent was equivalent to peak level rank 5 normal sword intent. Added with the special destruction element, it would not be hard for him to kill those wind spirits. The five continued to move forward, and soon, they passed through the wind zone. Gasp! Lifting their eyes, the five of them gasped at the same time. In their line of sight, there was a huge skeleton. The skeleton's body was wriggling like a python, coiled into a circle. Its huge head was slightly raised, and there were 2 antlers on its head. An invisible pressure was emitted from the skeleton, making it difficult for the five of them to even breathe. It is a dragon skeleton, Yang Fengfeng mumbled to herself. This pressure. It should be a pure dragon aura, right? It is even more horrifying than the ice flood dragon's aura. Even my Jin Yuan circulation is restricted. Yi Chen tried his best to push his Jin Yuan, and the dragon power filled up his body, cancelling out the pressure brought by the dragon aura. A dragon that has been dead for God knows how many years can bring out this much pressure. I wonder how powerful it would be when it was alive. Look. There are dragon blood plants everywhere. There are at least dozens of them. Guan Qin's breathing accelerated. The dragon blood plant was a top rank plant that would only appear in places that had been soaked in dragon blood. It contained the dragon blood, and after being trained, it could form a beam of dragon power, which would strengthen the body. Training dozens of dragon blood plants would increase the dragon power quite a lot, which would allow them to have the same power as body training warriors. Maybe there is dragon bone jade marrow in the dragon bones. After refining the dragon bone jade marrow, it can also strengthen the physique. It can also form a thin layer of dragon bone defense on the surface of the body, greatly increasing the defensive power. In terms of value, The dragon bone marrow was even more valuable than the dragon blood plant. It was a semi-extreme rank item. But it would not be easy to block out this dragon aura. The dignity of the dragon could not be challenged, and the will of the dragon was even more unpredictable. After the dragon died, although its body would become very weak, the dragon aura that it gave off would not be weak at all. It was the proof of its power when it was alive. Haha. There really are dragon bones here. And so many dragon blood plants. Losing 5 top-rank weapons is nothing. 1 or 2 dragon blood plants would be enough to make up for it. 5 human figures appeared out of the wind. Morchi Lu and Ao Wubai, who were leading the group, could not help but laugh out loud. The other 3 held their breaths as well, greed written all over their faces. Yang Fengfeng, give me some face and leave this place. I, Morchi Lu, will owe you a favor. Morchi Lu was afraid of Yang Fengfeng the most, so he tried to negotiate. Yang Fengfeng turned her head. How much is your favor worth? I don't need it. Ao Wubai took a step forward. What if I join in? Offending the Sky Tiger race and my blue-eyed white wolf family at the same time? I believe you will make the right choice. What? You want us to leave with just a few words? Do you think we are idiots? Hai Wuya mocked. Hai Wuya, I will remember this. Once we get out, I will beat you to death. Ao Wubai's pupils were like a wolf's, looking very dangerous. Beat me to death. Hai Wuya laughed out of anger. Brother Hai, no need to waste time with him. This place is a good place to bury them. After his breakthrough, Yi Chen had not had the chance to test it out with someone yet. He really wanted to know if his extreme battling power could kill demi-beast martial geniuses at this level. Yes, bury them. Hai Wuya revealed a killing intent. Brat, I have never seen you before. But, just because of what you have said today, there will be no place for you to live anymore. Even Yang Fengfeng will not be able to protect you. Come out now, and I will leave you with a whole body. A blue-eyed white wolf shadow appeared behind Ao Wubai's back, waving its massive wolf tail. You! Yi Chen turned around to face him. Ao Wubai chuckled lightly. Which family or martial institution are you from? Do you have the guts to tell me? Within 3 months, I will kill your whole family. I, Ao Wubai, am a man of my words. Unfortunately, you will not be able to see that day. Today, I will beat you to death before wiping out your family and martial institution. Shoo! Ao Wubai stomped on the ground and threw out a fist attack toward Yi Chen. Behind him, the blue-eyed white wolf shadow was huge, adding power to his attack. Chapter 596. Brother Yi, be careful. Ever since Yi Chen had reached the mid-sea of Soul's realm, Hai Wuya had no idea how powerful Yi Chen was anymore. All he knew was that Yi Chen's power was definitely not weaker than his. As for how much more powerful it was, he would have to observe further. Plus, Ao Wubai was not that easy to deal with either. 8 wild wolf fists. Ao Wubai's movement was very weird, just like a wolf. He waved his fist, and that aggressive fist wind turned into a hungry wolf that rushed out. It roared into the sky with a strange magical power, as if a full moon had appeared in the sky. Wolf will. Oh right, this guy has the bloodline of the blue-eyed white wolf in him after all. An extremely penetrating yell was heard as Yi Chen jumped out of the ground. His Zhun Yuan, which was a level higher, exploded all of a sudden as he stabbed his sword into the head of the wolf. Wolf shadow jump. Ao Wubai did not even bother to look at the result of his fist attack. His body jumped, disappearing right in front of Yi Chen's eyes. Then, shadows appeared one after another. At first, they were Ao Wubai's shadows, but later on, they turned into wolf shadows. It seems like Ao Wubai did not underestimate his opponent at all. He had even performed his wolf shadow jump. Yang Fengfeng, I will ask you again. Are you leaving or not? I admit that you are very powerful, but your partner might not be. Morchi Lu looked at Yang Fengfeng with confidence. I believe that they will not lose. A bright blue flame appeared behind Yang Fengfeng's back, looking like a pair of massive fire wings. Both of her hands had turned into massive green jade phoenix claws. The claws looked very thin, not as thick as the dragon claws or tiger claws. But that sharp arc was enough to shock Morchi Lu all right. Since you are so stubborn, then I will save my breath. Everyone, let's go. Whoever kills their opponent first, I will give him more of the dragon blood plant. Roar. Screech. The demi-beasts had the characteristics of the beasts. When they went crazy, they would be extremely brutal. Under the stimulation of the dragon blood plant, they all rushed at their opponents excitedly. Morchi Lu, when we fought 3 years ago, you were defeated by me. I wonder how much progress you have made now. Yang Fengfeng's speed was unparalleled. With only one step, she had already arrived in front of Morchi Lu. Her indestructible green jade phoenix claw waved upwards, wanting to take off Morchi Lu's head. 3 years ago, I lost to you in a single move. Today, I'll make you pay me back double. Morchi Lu's hands had turned into platinum tiger claws. The tiger claws were sparkling and translucent, as if they had been forged from the finest and purest metal. They were full of texture, while the tiger claws were like profound iron, their thickness and sharpness enough to make one's scalp go numb. The first impression that these tiger claws gave off was that they were born to slaughter. Dang! Morchi Lu blocked Yang Fengfeng's attack with a claw attack. Phoenix peck. Yang Fengfeng retracted her other blue claw and pecked at Morchi Lu's eyes. Tiger God Whip. A white light flashed, and a couple meters long white gold tiger tail swung out from Morchi Lu's back, whipping at Yang Fengfeng's wrist. This Morchi Lu even grew a tiger tail. All right. Yang Fengfeng's eyes were burning as she backed out. The pair of fire wings on her back attacked from both sides, reaching out dozens of meters. Shoo, shoo, shoo. That sharp claw shadow appeared from time to time as Ao Wubai pushed his movement and attack speed to a higher level. Ting, ting. Yi Chen controlled his step art to be within one step. Within that one step, he turned and moved. The Thunder Disaster sword in his hand was like a poisonous snake, clashing with Ao Wubai's claw shadow. Speed against speed, still unable to do anything to him. Shoo. The wolf shadow disappeared, and Ao Wubai's body appeared. It seems like I have underestimated you. But this is good as well. Otherwise, the situation would be too boring. Now, it is time for the main course, the bloodline bonding. Roaring into the sky, the blue-eyed white wolf shadow behind him merged with his body. His head and face started to grow longer, and his fangs started to pop out. White fur started to grow on his body. Following the back of his neck, the muscles on his back started to expand as well. Then, it was his arms, then his stomach, and then his legs. His clothes were torn apart instantly. Within the blink of an eye, Ao Wubai had turned into a werewolf standing upright. His body was covered in white fur, and his chest muscles were piled up together. Both of his arms and legs were extremely long, and that fluffy wolf tail was swinging back and forth, full of wild power. Such a powerful power. Every time the bloodline bonding happens, I feel so good. Unfortunately, it is only 15 minutes. But it is more than enough to take care of you. Die. Leaning his body forward, Ao Wubai's speed was pushed to its limit as his right wolf claw reached toward Yi Chen's heart. It was so fast that only a white line could be seen. So fast. It was the first time Yi Chen had seen a demi-beast transformation. Speed sword hell. The Thunder Disaster sword disappeared, and in front of Yi Chen, the sword light was everywhere. Break for me. Ao Wubai broke through the sword light blockade and attacked with his claw. Swoosh. Yi Chen took a couple of steps to the side, and a crack appeared on his right shoulder, exposing the shining gold armor. You can't dodge it. Ao Wubai turned around and threw out a powerful right leg. His foot claw was not any weaker than his hand claw, it was also extremely sharp, and it had the advantage of length. Dang. Yi Chen blocked out with his sword while his whole body backed out. TSK, TSK. Your reaction is quite fast. But how long can you last? After transforming into a werewolf, my speed and power have reached an explosive stage. Moreover, the angrier I am, the stronger I become. This is a power that far surpasses that of a human. Shoo. Ao Wubai disappeared once again, and when he reappeared, he was already 10 steps behind Yi Chen. Sparks appeared on the Thunder Disaster sword as Yi Chen took half a step to the side. If it were not for the vague claw shadow in front of him, no one would know that they had exchanged an attack. Impossible. I dodged it. That was even faster than before. The smile froze on his face as Ao Wubai's pupils shrunk as he stared at Yi Chen. Yi Chen said lightly, "Even if you were twice as fast, you would not be able to hurt me." If Yang Fengfeng's speed was unparalleled at the Sea of Soul's realm, then in terms of reaction, observation, and coordination, Yi Chen would be unparalleled as well. No one would be able to hurt him with speed, unless it was a head-on battle. On the other side, Yang Fengfeng and Morqi Lu were still battling. Yang Fengfeng laughed, "I told you, they would not lose." In fact, Yi Chen's performance had shocked her quite a bit as well. After Ao Wubai had turned into a werewolf, his short-distance movement speed was not that much slower than hers. And yet, Yi Chen was able to turn his body to the side and block all of a sudden. In other words, even if it was her, she would not be able to get the upper hand with speed. So what? Even if speed does not get the upper hand, the difference in power is like heaven and earth. Morqi Lu started to pay more attention to Yi Chen. This guy's power might be similar to Hai Wuya's, but his overall power was surprisingly high. Speed did not work on him at all. Wolf rush, exploding teeth. Knowing that pure speed would not work on Yi Chen, Ao Wubai decided to fight head-on. Of course, speed was still the key, but he had added more power. Boom. Ao Wubai's hand claws were extremely fast, forming a white line. Looking over, it looked like a massive wolf's fang, attacking at Yi Chen's head head-on. Boom. A cluster of sawtooth, sword-shaped light wave welcomed the incoming attack. The two passed by each other. A swirl chi flow appeared in the air between the two. Wolf rush, double exploding teeth. Turning around, Ao Wubai ran toward Yi Chen again. His two claws, one in front and one in the back, looked like the fangs of a massive wolf. The Thunder Disaster Sword was thrown out first, the gold sword attacking upward. The two swords intersected, forming a perfect cross-shaped sword light, blocking the two fangs. Die. Ao Wubai kicked out with his knee. Thunder Bird Transformation. The Thunder Disaster Sword suddenly left his hand as Yi Chen formed a fist with his right hand, throwing out a flying bird thunder light attack on Ao Wubai's chest. Boom. Ao Wubai was blown out backward. How could you be faster than me? Ao Wubai puked out a mouthful of blood as he said in disbelief. It is not that I am faster than you, it is that you have not gotten used to this extreme speed and power yet. You have suddenly gained power, and you cannot control it completely. Plus, I had already noticed that your movements were not coordinated, and were a bit out of shape. When a person suddenly gained a power that was a couple times more powerful, they would not be able to control it properly, and would not be able to turn that power into real power. Facing Yi Chen, any small mistake would be fatal. After a couple of rounds of battling, Yi Chen had soon found out his opponent's mistake. The moment his opponent's movement changed, Yi Chen knew that the killing attack was coming, so he attacked first. Void-shattering finger. The fist that had been thrown out reached out an index finger, which shone with a bright light. A huge blue finger pressed onto Ao Wubai's chest. Pop! Ao Wubai's chest was badly mutilated as he crashed into that dark wind. Ao Wubai has lost. Morqi Lu, who was battling with Yang Fengfeng, was shocked. He was accidentally kicked in the stomach by Yang Fengfeng, and the blue flame exploded. Retreat! Puking out a mouthful of blood, Morqi Lu yelled out angrily. The other three saw what had happened and knew that the situation was hopeless. The most powerful ones, Morqi Lu and Ao Wubai, were both wounded. If they stayed, it would be suicide. So, one after another, they ran into the wind despite their injuries. Hai Wuya and the other two could not stop them at all. You want to run? Yang Fengfeng pushed her speed to its limit as she chased after them. Heaven Tiger roar. Morqi Lu roared, and the Heaven Tiger shadow behind him roared as well. Time seemed to have stopped, and the space shook. Shoo! In that short second, it was enough for Morqi Lu to escape. He disappeared into the wind within a blink of an eye. Heaven Tiger roar. It contains the willpower attack. Yang Fengfeng stopped chasing. These demi-beasts are so hard to deal with. Hai Wuya walked over and shook his head helplessly. The other three, he had chosen the most powerful one, and he had been winning. But his opponent was extremely tough, and he would not be able to beat him within a short period of time. Plus, all of the demi-beasts had some weird powers. Yang Fengfeng said, killing one or two of them would be meaningless. Yeah. Yi Chen nodded. If it were only Ao Wu Bai, he would let the dream-eating wolf come out and kill him together. But there were 5 of them, and it would be impossible to kill them all. If one escaped, it would be troublesome. Therefore, it would be either not kill them or kill them all. Otherwise, if he killed one Ao Wu Bai, he would be attacked by the Ao family, which would be quite troublesome. Chapter 597. Alright, no matter what, this victory belongs to us, and the dragon blood plants here belong to us as well. Yang Fengfeng turned her head and looked at the plants near the dragon bones, then said seriously, but before we split the plants, I would like to state the rules. Nothing can be accomplished without rules. If a team wants to exist, then it has to be fair. What is fair? It is very simple. It will be split according to how much effort you put in. If you put in more effort, you will get more, and if you put in less effort, then you will get less. If we split it evenly, then it would be the biggest unfair. The longevity fruit was an exception. Sometimes, we can talk about friendship, but of course, it is only occasionally. Looking over at Ling Tianhao and Guan Qin, Yang Fengfeng continued, you two have put in the least effort. Therefore, you two can only get 20% of the total. Head sister, I am fine with it. Me too. Ling Tianhao and Guan Qin knew that they had put in the least effort, so it would be great if they could get 10% each. If it were the other teams, they would not even get 10%. As for the remaining 80%, I will get 20%. Yang Fengfeng, you and Yi Chen will get 30% each. Hai Wuya took the initiative to suggest the battle between Yi Chen and Ao Wu Bai, letting him know that Yi Chen had already surpassed him, and was not that much weaker than Yang Fengfeng. Compared to Yang Fengfeng, Yi Chen still had a couple of advantages, such as his powerful destruction sword intent, horrifying reaction and observation. Just these two alone would be enough to make a big difference. For example, the wind spirit in the wind could not be threatened at all because of Yi Chen's existence. After saying that, Hai Wuya was a bit emotional. It had only been a while, and Yi Chen had already surpassed him. Brother Hai. Yang Fengfeng and Yi Chen looked at him. Yang Fengfeng actually wanted the 3 of them to split the 80%, since it was the first time after all, so there was no need to split it so clearly. Hai Wuya laughed, don't say any more. I know what I am doing. But, next time, I will fight for the distribution with my own power. Since that's the case, then so be it. Junior brother Yi, you don't have any objections, right? Xianhu thought more highly of Yi Chen, and Yang Fengfeng had been calling Yi Chen as her brother-disciple. And this brother-disciple of hers was indeed a bit exaggerated. She had to admit that if it were a battle of life and death, although she had more than 50% chance of winning, there was still a chance that she would be beaten by him. So, it would be reasonable for them to get 30% each. Yi Chen shook his head. After deciding on the distribution ratio, the next step was easy. Everyone split up to pick the dragon bloodgrass. Everyone hoped that there would be more dragon bloodgrass. I have 6 here. I also have 6, 9, 8. Gathering all the plants together, Yang Fengfeng forced a smile, 29 plants in total. One more would be great. 30 stalks of dragon bloodgrass was a round number, and it was the easiest to distribute. How about this? Junior brother Ling and Guan Qin will each get 3. Brother Hai, you get 6. Junior brother Yi, you get 9. I'll take 8. Yang Fengfeng had lost 1. Sister Yang, this is my first time here, so I will take 8, and you take 9. Yi Chen took the 8 plants and put them into his storage ring. Hee hee. Hai Wuya chuckled. Yi Chen was more like him. Yang Fengfeng also had a better impression of Yi Chen. There were indeed a lot of dragon blood plants, but it was not something that normal people could just give up on. But this was good as well. Everyone could live in peace, and there should not be any conflicts in the future. Next is the dragon bone jade marrow. The 5 lifted up their heads and looked at that massive dragon skeleton. After Sea of Souls realm warriors died, there would be a chance for spirit power crystal stones to appear in their bones. After Life and Death realm warriors died, spirit power crystal stones would appear in their bodies as well. But of course, the quality would be way higher than Sea of Souls realm warriors. After the dragons died, their bones would form the dragon bone jade marrow. But, after all these years, no one knew if the dragon bone jade marrow in this dragon skeleton had turned into fossils or not. Break. Yang Fengfeng threw out a palm attack toward the dragon skeleton. The dragon skeleton was no longer as tough as before. The only reason it could maintain its shape was because of the remnant dragon will. However, there was not much of it left. After the intense battle just now, most of it had already fallen apart. At this moment, Yang Fengfeng's palm slapped over, shattering the skeleton into pieces. The broken pieces of the dragon bones were all over the ground. On top of it, there was a pile of light with a blue halo, which was about the size of an egg. It is the dragon bone jade marrow. I did not expect it to still be here. It did not turn into a fossil. One dragon bone jade marrow. How should we split it? The dragon bone jade marrow was way more valuable than the dragon blood plants, so no one wanted to give it up. Yi Chen said, "Let's see what we can do. Everyone, please don't kill it." Yang Fengfeng nodded. "We will not fight for it." Ling Tianhao and Guan Qin forced a smile, knowing that they would not be able to win against the three of them. Shoo! Yang Fengfeng turned into a blue flame and shot out. Yi Chen was not slow either. 5 beams of sword light appeared around his body, flashing once as he followed right behind Yang Fengfeng. Meanwhile, Hai Wuya performed his Sky Ocean godly palm art, affecting the balance between Yang Fengfeng and Yi Chen. Then, he reached out his hand, trying to grab the dragon bone jade marrow. The three were fighting against each other, and the chi flow spread out. Not good. What is going on? Such a powerful willpower attack. Hai Wuya's face turned pale as he was blown away. It is this dragon bone jade marrow. Yang Fengfeng frowned, stopping her body. Only Yi Chen was not afraid at all. He flew right next to the dragon bone jade marrow, reaching out his hand and sucking it over. It was a blue gem-like crystal stone, shining with a pure blue halo without any impurities. Grabbing it in his hand, Yi Chen could sense a powerful willpower spreading out, along with waves of energy vibration. Brother Yi, congratulations. I did not expect this dragon bone jade marrow to contain such a powerful dragon willpower. Only you would be able to compete with it. Since he could not get it, Hai Wuya decided to let it go. Yang Fengfeng laughed, losing a dragon blood plant and getting a dragon bone jade marrow. It seems like the world is fair after all. The fact that the dragon bone jade marrow contained the willpower of the dragon was something that Yi Chen had not expected. Thinking about it, the reason why the dragon skeleton was still standing was because of the dragon bone jade marrow. After playing with the dragon bone jade marrow for a while, Yi Chen flipped his palm and put it away. He chuckled, "Sorry, this dragon bone jade marrow is destined to be mine. With the dragon bone jade marrow, your defense would be at the top of the warriors at the same level. It would not be a weakness anymore. Sword artists usually had a weaker defense, and that was an undeniable fact. Let's go. Let's see if there are any other treasures." The dragon cave was huge, and they had only explored a small part of it. The first place to search was the crazy wind area. With Yi Chen there, the wind spirits inside would not be able to do anything to them. Soon, all 5 of them obtained some upper-rank wind essence stones. Wind essence stones were similar in value to fire cloud gems, and upper-rank wind essence stones were even rarer. Only when the wind elemental energy was extremely rich, and after thousands of years of blowing, could they be formed in the mountain rocks. After a whole day, the 5 of them had searched every corner of the cave and gotten a lot of treasures. They did not leave the cave until the morning of the second day. In the following days, the 5 continued to explore other places. For them, this once-a-year opportunity was very precious, since it was a big era right now. If one did not improve, others would. If one did not improve, one would fall behind. If they did not want to be eliminated, they would have to try their best to improve themselves. During this period of time, Yi Chen had finally stabilized his mid-Sea of Souls realm cultivation. He started to eat earth spirit pellets and sky spirit pellets to accumulate Jin Yuan. Earth spirit pellets were rare pellets, and they had great effects. The sky spirit pellets were 3 times more effective than the earth spirit pellets. In just 1 week, Yi Chen had reached peak level mid-Sea of Soul's Realm from mid-Sea of Soul's Realm, and his Jin Yuan had thickened by 20%. It is time to leave. At the end of the moon, the evil qi in the air was getting thicker and thicker. One could even see it with their naked eyes, and it seemed to be corrosive as well. We have gained enough. With all these resources, it would be hard for us not to improve. Next time we meet, I hope everyone can improve as well. The 5 got on the flying ship and flew back the way they came. In front of the barrier, boom! Yang Feng tore apart the barrier with 1 claw attack, and the flying ship shot out. Hey! So many people. What is going on? Once they got out, the 5 saw hundreds of people gathered on the flat ground not far away. Among them, the weakest ones were spirit warriors, and there were a lot of master-level Sea of Soul's Realm warriors as well. After all, this was the month where the evil qi was the weakest in the whole year, so a lot of people had made their way here. Since it was the last day of the month, everyone started to leave the place. Look. It is Tai Shichong. Someone is looking for trouble with him. Ling Tianhao said with a low voice. Let's go and have a look. Riding the flying ship, the 5 arrived above the crowd. There were a lot of people standing in the air, all of whom were master-level Sea of Soul's Realm warriors. Tai Shichong, you hurt my cousin, so you should know what the consequences will be. Standing in front of Tai Shichong was a young man who was about the same age as Yi Chen. He was wearing a long silver robe, and there was a long and narrow great blade on his waist. His fingers were long and powerful, and his finger bones were slightly protruding out. Although it was Tai Shichong, one of the top 3 young sword masters, judging from his attitude, he did not think much of him at all. It is Duguju. I did not expect Duguju to find Tai Shichong this fast. Dugu Ming is here as well. Hai Wuya was attracted immediately. He really wanted to know who was more powerful between Duguju and Tai Shichong, since it had been a long time since Duguju had fought. Tai Shichong sneered, consequences? I am afraid you do not have the power to make me take the consequences. Once I take out my blade, there will be blood. Today, I will use your blood as a sacrifice for my blade. Duguju's expression was cold, without any expression. Brother Taisha, teach him a lesson. On the side, Li Feng and Li Lei, who had not fully recovered from their wounds, sneered as they looked at Duguju. A martial genius who had only reached the Sea of Soul's Realm for a year wanted to challenge Tai Shichong, who had been famous for many years and was one of the top 3 young sword masters. Cousin, he left a sword mark on my chest. You should leave one on his chest as well. Dugu Ming said viciously. Duguju looked at Tai Shichong as his body shot up into the sky. Don't worry, I will leave something for him to remember. Tai Shichong, come up and fight. Dugu Ming yelled. Chapter 598. Duguju's attitude had pissed Tai Shichong off. His expression turned colder and colder as he shot into the sky, staying 100 steps away from Duguju. Duguju, perhaps you have not lost a single battle in the young generation, but today, you will lose for sure. Arrogance will come with a price. Perhaps I will lose, but you do not have what it takes to make me lose. Only those with more potential than me can beat me. You are not qualified yet. Duguju was just like Yi Chen, having never lost a single battle in the young generation. Even Dantai Mingyu, who was just as famous as him, could only fight him to a draw. He had an invincible heart. Although his power was not invincible, his heart was already invincible. The more confidence you have, the harder I will make you fall. Tai Shichong stared at Duguju with his sharp eyes. On the ground and in the sky, hundreds of warriors could sense the battle intent and killing intent of the two. One of them was one of the top 3 sword masters, who had been famous for a long time. Among the young sword artists, he was only weaker than the head of the top 3 sword masters. The other was one of the top 2 martial geniuses of the Sky Martial region, Duguju, who had never lost a single battle in the young generation. He was extremely talented, and he was a blade artist as well. Right then, it was the battle between Tai Shichong and Du Guju. It was also a battle between a sword artist and a blade artist. Everyone held their breath. Although Du Guju had not reached the Sea of Souls realm for long, he is still a monster after all. No one would dare to say that he would lose for sure. Hai Wuya mumbled to himself before glancing at Yi Chen. Yi Chen was also one of the top martial geniuses. Who will win or lose will depend on their achievements in the sword art or blade art. Yi Chen could tell that Du Guju was already at mid-Sea of Souls realm, and he had probably run into some special things in the past year. Of course, it might also be resources from the family, since a rank 5 family would be able to get some rare resources for one person. Du Guju, take this. Tai Shichong did not take out his sword. Instead, he jumped out and put his right index and middle fingers together, pointing out a sword finger at Du Guju's forehead. It was indeed the sword of heaven and earth. Kai. A huge sword shadow extended out. Tai Shichong, take out your sword. Du Guju unsheathed his long saber and swung it down. The pale white light of the saber shone upon everyone's heart. An ear-piercing exploding sound was heard, shaking the entire space. That pale white blade light had actually sliced open the sword shadow, bringing with it a despairing power as it attacked toward Tai Shichong. Tai Shichong's expression changed as he hurried to pull out his long sword, blocking in front of his chest. Clang! Tai Shichong was blown away. Who? Taking a deep breath, Du Guju's eyes turned even colder. This kind of coldness was not the coldness of an iceberg, but the coldness that made people despair. He gripped the saber with both hands, his knuckles protruding as he slashed down again. The deathly white saber radiance caused the heaven and earth to turn white. Those who were facing the edge of the saber felt a wave of discomfort and pressure. Mountain sword. Du Guju's power had shocked Tai Shichong, so he performed his ace attack immediately. That mountain-like sword shadow was like a shield, locking down the whole place. Crack! Du Guju's saber light was like a hot knife through butter, shattering Tai Shichong's sword shadow. How could he be so powerful? And, this despairing power? Right then, Tai Shichong had already considered Du Guju as the biggest enemy of his life. The only thought in his mind was that he could not lose. A sword artist's willpower was extremely strong, so Tai Shichong soon cut away all the distracting thoughts in his mind and focused on the battle. He had thrown away all the honor and glory, only wanting to fight with Du Guju with his life. Unknowingly, his sword aura had become even more powerful, and his condition had broken through his limit. How could this Du Guju be so powerful? Even Tai Shichong could not do anything to him, and even seemed to be at a disadvantage. A lot of people had their eyes wide open. Yi Chen frowned, seeming to be thinking about something. Clang, clang, clang. The sky was filled with the saber light and sword shadows. The battle between the two was like a tsunami. Water sword, heartless wave. His human figure rose into the sky as Tai Shichong held his sword with both of his hands and waved it out. That powerful sword power was endless like water. The ocean will dry up, and the stone will rot. What we will face is only despair. Du Guju waved out a pale white blade light. Wherever the blade light went, the mountain rocks were cracked open and turned into dust. Tai Shichong's sword power had also been used up soon, and its power had been greatly reduced. However, his face was reflected in the blade light, and there was a rare panic on his face. The saber light spread out, and Tai Shichong puked out a mouthful of blood before being blown away. Tai Shichong is not an opponent for Du Guju at all. It seems like it is wrong of us to judge monsters with our eyes. Hai Wuya sighed. A lot of people thought that Du Guju and Dantai Mingyu had only reached the Sea of Souls realm for a year, and they would need a couple of years to accumulate their power. But, Du Guju had told them that within a year, he would be able to surpass a sword martial genius like Tai Shichong as well. It would not make sense to judge the martial geniuses with normal eyes. Since they were martial geniuses, they would be able to do things that normal people could not do. Yang Fengfeng said, Du Guju's saber art is a bit strange. It is indeed strange. It seems to be able to attack one's heart. Hai Wuya had the same feeling. Yi Chen did not say anything, all of his attention was on Du Guju. Tai Shichong, you have disappointed me so much. I thought I could have a real battle, but you do not even have the right to make me use all of my power. Du Guju's cold voice was heard toward Tai Shichong. His eyes turned red all of a sudden as Tai Shichong stood on top of a broken mountain. The sword chi on his body shot out into the sky, and his sword intent was actually increasing. It kept increasing until it reached peak level rank 4, which was only one step away from rank 5. Right then, his spirit, chi, and soul had all been infused into his sword aura, aiming at Du Guju from afar. All right. I did not expect you to be able to make a breakthrough at this moment. No wonder you are one of the top 3 young sword masters. Du Guju laughed, which was rare for him. Du Guju, the moment I make a breakthrough will be the moment you lose. Take this. Shattering the mountain with one foot, Tai Shichong waved out a sword attack in the air. That circular sword power spread out like a tide, covering the entire sky. With the enhancement of his peak level rank 4 sword intent, this attack seemed to be even more complete. You making a breakthrough is a good thing for me. Only by defeating powerful warriors will it be meaningful. Du Guju waved his blade at the incoming attack. The blade and sword clashed with each other, bringing up sparks everywhere. The two fought from the east to the west, from the west to the north, from the sky to the ground. It was easy to tell that the two were on par, and Du Guju was not able to suppress his opponent right away. I did not expect this Tai Shichong to make a breakthrough. Down below, Du Gu Ming frowned. Brother Ming, don't worry. Your cousin has never lost before in a situation where the power is the same. A couple of people next to Du Gu Ming said. Yes, cousin will not lose. Du Gu Ming's eyes brightened. This blade intent. Yi Chen gradually had an idea, and he seemed to be in deep thought. Above the lake, the battle between Du Guju and Tai Shichong had messed up the lake water. Some of the beasts hiding at the bottom of the lake had been sliced into pieces by the blade light and sword light. Tai Shichong, you are now qualified enough for me to use my most powerful ace attack. Du Guju's power was only slightly higher than Tai Shichong's, and now that Tai Shichong had made a breakthrough, the two were on par with each other. Without using his most powerful ace attack, he would not be able to beat his opponent. Tai Shichong's eyebrows were like swords as that powerful sword intent made his clothes flutter in the air, and even the space around him became blurry. Du Guju, I still have to thank you for bringing my sword intent to the next level. The improvement of my sword intent had also made me understand the things that I could not understand before. Now, you will taste the consequences that you have brought upon yourself. Tai Shichong yelled with a low voice as his face turned red. That powerful sword intent continued to roll around as if it had a mind of its own. His body shot out at a fast speed as he shook his wrist. That long sword was like an angry dragon, letting out a sky-piercing sword cry. Under my most powerful ace attack, you will only have despair. Du Guju welcomed the incoming attack without any emotion. He held his blade with both of his hands and dragged it on the ground, splitting the lake water in half. Boom! Before the two clashed together, the lake water had already split into two sides, eventually rushing onto the shore and drowning a huge area of land. Thousands of meters deep mud was exposed. Flood. Tai Shichong's long sword that was like an angry dragon suddenly changed. The angry dragon brought up a huge wave, sweeping across the world. That ruthless sword power all rushed toward Du Guju. Desperation blade. At the last moment, Du Guju waved out his long blade. That pale white blade light turned into a white rainbow that pierced through the sky. All of the living beings were on it, their faces filled with despair. Indeed. It is the desperation element, the desperation blade intent. That sharp white rainbow had confirmed Yi Chen's guess. After waving out that sword attack, Tai Shichong was in a good condition. However, that blade attack from Du Guju had made him fall to the bottom. His face was filled with despair, and there was only despair in his heart as well. I am going to die. This blade attack will kill me. No matter how I try to block it, I will die. Since it is useless to block it, then why should I block it? No. Tai Shichong screamed as he bit his tongue tip and threw his long sword onto that pale white blade light. Chin. The two passed by each other. The lake water poured down, drenching Tai Shichong. Swoosh! A huge amount of blood poured out of Tai Shichong's chest. That blade attack from Dugu Ju had gone through the longsword and wounded him. Right then, he felt like all of his internal organs had been twisted into a ball. This blade attack. Why did it make me feel despair? I am a sword artist, and a sword artist's will should not be affected by anything, not to mention when the power level is the same. Tai Shichong's face was pale, and he looked like he had lost his soul. To be able to survive my desperation blade attack, you should be proud enough. Blood leaked out from the corner of Dugu Ju's mouth. That last sword attack from Tai Shichong had wounded him as well. Of course, it was not as severe as Tai Shichong's, it was only a light wound. Everyone who was watching the battle did not speak for a long time. Hai Wuya came back to his senses and looked at Yi Chen. Brother Yi, what did you mean by the desperation blade intent? Yi Chen said, my sword intent has the destruction element, while his blade intent has the desperation element. Naturally, it is called the desperation blade intent. The desperation blade intent combined with the unique blade movement can make the opponent feel despair, and when that happens, they might die. The destruction element was different from the desperation element. Desperation was a human emotion, and it could affect the opponent's mentality. However, the destruction element was not an emotion, so it could not do that. Chapter 599. Tai Shichong has lost. Dugu Ju is indeed one of the top 2 martial geniuses. No matter what level he is at, he would not be weaker than anyone else. Right now, even Tai Shichong, one of the top 3 young sword masters, had lost to him. Brother Li, you are wrong. He is not one of the top 2 martial geniuses, but one of the top 3. Did you not hear about it? A couple of months ago, there was a guy named Yi Chen who had left his name on the Sky Marshal Pavilion's wall. Although he was ranked 3rd, but just like the 1st and 2nd, he had also made it through 7 levels. Perhaps he is older than Dugu Ju and Dantai Mingyu. Although age does not have much to do with talent, it would still affect him a bit. No, you are wrong again. Yi Chen's identity has already been investigated. He comes from a rank 7 martial school in the South Rudra region, and is highly valued by the Dragon King. Plus, he is not only not older than Dugu Ju and Dantai Mingyu, he is actually 2 years younger than them. What? Is that so? Doesn't that mean that when he reached the Sea of Souls realm, he was even younger than Xianhu? Indeed. Calling him a martial genius would not be an exaggeration at all. Everyone who was watching started to discuss. Brother Yi, they are talking about you. Hai Wuya laughed. Yi Chen said lightly, these are all fake titles. Being famous does not mean that people would be afraid of you. On the contrary, if you do not perform well, your reputation would plummet immediately. You are right. Fake titles are also a kind of pressure. So many martial geniuses have been dragged down by fake titles and ended up with nothing. Yang Fengfeng said, this Dugu Ju is a blade artist. Perhaps it will not be long before he challenges Xiao Chuhe, one of the top 5 young warriors. After Xiao Chuhe had beaten Shen Qianlang, one of the top 3 master-level blade artists, he had become one of the new top 3 master-level blade artists. His reputation was way higher than Tai Shichong, who was one of the top young sword masters. Only the head of the top young sword masters could compete with him. It is indeed very powerful. The despairing blade intent should be at rank 4, and its power is at rank 5 normal blade intent. His despairing blade attack is also close to the mid-rank profound sense blade art. Also, rumor has it that Dugu Ju has the dark spirit body, and he has trained the dark Zhen Yuan, which is way more powerful than the normal Zhen Yuan. The rank 5 blade intent was a bit weaker than Yi Chen's. His despairing blade attack could be considered a top martial art, but it would not be able to suppress Yi Chen. It was almost the same as Yi Chen's most powerful attack. The dark spirit body was a bit troublesome, since it was a rare body type. It was similar to Jing Aoshuan's thunder spirit body, and the dark Zhen Yuan that he had trained would be more powerful than Yi Chen's Zhen Yuan. Yi Chen did not have the confidence to beat Tai Shichong. But of course, the chance of him losing was not that big either, only 50%. After this battle, Yi Chen had also seen Tai Shichong's real power clearly. To be honest, Yi Chen had more than 60% confidence that he could beat Tai Shichong. His cultivation had increased a lot during this period of time, from peak level early Sea of Soul's Realm to peak level mid Sea of Soul's Realm. It was not a small improvement, since a warrior's power was basically divided into three parts: the cultivation, the willpower, and the profound sense. Before, Yi Chen's only advantage was the willpower, but now that his cultivation had caught up, he was only lacking the profound sense. But the sword intent was more than enough to make up for it. Therefore, the increase in his cultivation had brought his battling power to a whole new level. However, he estimated that he would still be slightly weaker than Yang Fengfeng. Up until now, Yi Chen had not seen Yang Fengfeng reveal her full battling power. Adding her insane speed, Yi Chen thought that she would be one of the top warriors just below the top 5 young warriors. It was just that she had always been low-key, and would not take the initiative to challenge others. But of course, if others came to her, she would definitely kill them. Hai Wuya sighed, the big era is coming, and no one wants to be left behind. The top 3 martial geniuses, endless top martial geniuses. This era would be even more intense than the previous ones. Wanting to go against the current would not be something that normal people could do. After beating Tai Shichong, Du Guju's eyes suddenly looked in Yi Chen's direction, eventually locking onto Yi Chen's body. The one who revealed his rank 5 sword intent before should be him. When Du Guju and Tai Shichong were battling, Yi Chen could not help but let out a bit of his sword intent. Those with willpower below rank 5 would not be able to sense it at all. However, Du Guju's blade intent was at rank 5, so he was able to sense it. That bit of sword intent made Du Guju feel threatened, since Dan Tai Mingyu seemed to be the only one who had reached rank 5 willpower among the young generation. Why is he looking at Yi Chen? Hai Wuya looked confused. Du Guju looked at Yi Chen from afar. I am Du Guju. What is your name? Yi Chen. Yi Chen said lightly. What? He is Yi Chen. He is indeed so young. Everyone looked at Yi Chen together. Hearing him, a black light shot out from Du Guju's eyes. You are Yi Chen? The news of Yi Chen passing 7 levels on the Wall of Fame in the Sky Martial Pavilion and being on par with him and Dan Tai Mingyu had already spread out, and he had only heard about it recently. Alright, Dan Tai Mingyu and I have been fighting for so many years, and finally, a new opponent has appeared. I hope you will not fall that fast. As you wish. Du Guju smiled. Yi Chen's attitude was very calm, but he could feel that kind of strong confidence. All of a sudden, his expression turned cold, and there seemed to be a blade light shooting out from his eyes. The pale white illusory blade light split the sky and the earth, and the shadows of all living beings appeared on it. Yi Chen's expression did not change. The light in the depths of his eyes suddenly turned dark red, and the dark red illusory sword light shot out with a will that would kill anyone who stood in its way, and kill Buddha who stood in its way. In just one exchange, the shadows of all living beings on the white illusory blade light disappeared. In front of this sword intent that could slaughter the entire world, all living beings' despair was inevitable. Slaughter brought death, and how could the despair before death not exist? Pop! The blade intent and the sword intent clashed together, and a wave of willpower mixed with despair and slaughter spread out in all directions. Many people's faces turned pale, and they felt like their heads were about to explode. Slaughter sword intent. No wonder it is not afraid of my despair blade intent, and is even slightly stronger. Du Guju frowned. The despair blade intent could affect the opponent's emotions, making them feel despair and wait for death. However, there were also people who could not be affected, such as those who had the slaughter sword intent. Of course, because of the different elements, the slaughter sword intent could not suppress the despair blade intent. You are qualified to be on the same level as me and Dan Tai Mingyu. However, a real battle would be way more intense than the one just now. A lot of people had ignored the details, and it was the details that would decide the outcome of the battle. Du Guju was wounded, otherwise, he might have had a huge battle with Yi Chen. In a real battle, apart from the 3 basic aspects, which were cultivation, willpower, and profound, there were also all kinds of talents, such as the body type. These were all major aspects. However, when most of the aspects were about the same, it would depend on the details, such as battling experience, battling skills, the awareness of death, and the potential to fight back. It could be said that it was very complicated to judge a person's power, especially for geniuses. As for those mediocre people and normal people, they would be judged by the three basic aspects. Yi Chen smiled lightly. Unfortunately, I am the kind of person who pays attention to details. I will remember your name. One day in the future, you and I will have to fight again. After saying that, Du Guju turned around and left. Du Guming and the others followed behind him. Hai Wuya looked at Du Guju's back and said to Yi Chen, "It seems like he values you a lot, and is not as arrogant as before." Yi Chen sighed, "Very scary. He is one of the scariest people I have ever seen in my life." Yi Chen was not afraid of people who were powerful or talented, but he was afraid of people who were strong in all aspects, had a strong mind, and paid attention to details. It could be said that Du Guju was a person who had almost no weaknesses. If he wanted to defeat him, he would have to fight fair and square. However, Yi Chen was indeed a little excited. The value of a person's existence was not in the gains, but in the challenges. Let's go. The battle had already ended, so there was no need to stay. Shoo. The flying ship broke through the sky and flew away. Flying Feather City, a medium-sized city in the Sky Martial region. Inside a manor, Yi Chen was practicing his martial arts on the massive training ground. This manor was rented. Because of the high mobility of warriors, some of the cities with special geographical locations were always full of restaurants. Some of the powerful warriors did not want to live in restaurants at all, preferring to live in manors or luxurious courtyards. But, once they left, they would have to sell the manors right away, which was quite troublesome. Therefore, renting a manor was born. Renting would definitely be cheaper than buying one, but after a long time, renting would still be more profitable. After separating from Yang Fengfeng and the rest, Yi Chen came to the nearby Flying Feather City. He planned to stay here for a while to digest some of the enlightenment he had gained from his breakthrough. On the training ground, Yi Chen had sunk into an empty state, practicing his martial arts with weird postures. It was not a normal martial art, it was just a series of movements without any restrictions. As Yi Chen practiced each movement, a golden light appeared on Yi Chen's body. He threw out a punch, which also contained the sharpness of gold. His finger poked out, making a swishing sound, but he did not use any Jin Yuan or willpower at all. After reaching the Sea of Soul's realm, each breakthrough would bring me a new enlightenment. I did not expect that after reaching the mid-Sea of Soul's realm, the first enlightenment would be the Gold Profound. The Sea of Soul's realm was no longer a normal human being, it was somewhere between a normal human being and a celestial being. Therefore, once one's cultivation made a breakthrough, there would be a split second of being one with nature, and the enlightenment of the profound would reach an unimaginable level. When he had just reached the mid-Sea of Soul's realm, Yi Chen's gold resonant radiance sword art had already reached 110%. Shoo, shoo. Each of Yi Chen's movements had a golden light flowing around his body. It was a phenomenon that could only happen when the gold profound had reached an extremely high level. Gold resonant radiance sword art. Putting up his right hand's index and middle fingers, Yi Chen used his finger as a sword and sliced through the air. Boom. A bright gold light wave shot out, its edge having a sawtooth shape. Only a loud sound was heard as a huge crack appeared on the training ground. The crack was thin on both ends and thick in the middle, looking like a shuttle. It was quite different from the normal gold resonant radiance sword art. 130%. I have almost reached my limit. After learning the profound, even if one did not use his Jin Yuan or willpower, the profound would still absorb the natural Yuan Qi. Performing the gold profound would absorb the natural Yuan Qi, which was quite powerful. Therefore, even if Yi Chen had lost all of his Jin Yuan and willpower, he would still be at the same level as a clasping Yuan realm warrior. Taking a deep breath, Yi Chen stopped moving. After 3 days, I have finally digested all of my enlightenment and turned it into the real gold profound. Now, I can train the dragon blood plants and the dragon bone jade marrow. Yi Chen had gotten 8 dragon blood plants and 1 dragon bone jade marrow. 8 dragon blood plants would allow him to train 8 beams of dragon power, and 1 dragon bone jade marrow would be able to train at least 3 to 4 beams of dragon power, which would be dozens of beams of dragon power in total. Chapter 600. 1 strand of dragon power can increase 50,000 pounds of chi power. Adding my original dragon power, it should add up to 250,000 pounds of chi power. Inside the manor's secret chamber, Yi Chen was sitting on the stone platform, refining the dragon blood plant. Back in the Treasure River Island, when he had refined the plant and obtained the first strand of dragon power, it had devoured Yi Chen's original chi power, increasing it to 200,000 pounds. After all, his original chi power was around 150,000 pounds. Now that he had refined the second strand of dragon power, he did not have enough chi power for it to devour. Therefore, it could only increase by 50,000 pounds, which would add up to 250,000 pounds. No, 1 strand of dragon power could increase 50,000 pounds. If I had enough dragon blood plant, wouldn't I be able to increase my chi power to 1 million pounds? Something is not right. The human body should have its own limit, and should not be able to increase it endlessly. With that thought in mind, Yi Chen became a bit more cautious. The dragon power refined from the dragon blood plant is just pure chi power, without any other support. The dragon bone jade marrow could not only refine the dragon power, but also form a dragon bone defensive layer on the surface of one's skin, adding another defensive effect. Alright, I will not refine the dragon blood plant for now. Let's refine the dragon bone jade marrow first. The dragon bone jade marrow was not meant to be swallowed, it only needed to be extracted. Placing both of his hands on his dantian, Yi Chen held onto the dragon bone jade marrow and slowly activated his Zhen Yuan, extracting the energy inside. The energy contained in the dragon bone jade marrow was several times more than that of the dragon blood plant. It was like a torrential river, pouring into Yi Chen's body through his meridians. Vaguely, one could even hear a splashing sound. What a rich energy! Yi Chen took a deep breath, increasing the speed of refining the dragon bone jade marrow's energy. After an unknown amount of time, a thick layer of blue light appeared on Yi Chen's body. The blue light was like a halo, crystal clear and pure. Not good. My chi power has reached 300,000 pounds, and it cannot be increased anymore. Could it be that this is the limit of my body? But, the energy of the dragon bone jade marrow is all in my body, and I have only refined 20 to 30% of it. The rest is going to be wasted. The value of the dragon bone jade marrow was simply too great. He had only refined 20 to 30% of its energy, wasting 70 to 80%. This was undoubtedly a waste of heavenly treasures. If word got out, he would be cursed by others. Focusing his mind, Yi Chen continued to refine energy, wanting to break through his limits. 2 hours. 4 hours. After a full 6 hours, Yi Chen's strength had been stuck at around 300,000 jins, unable to increase any further. The dragon bone jade essence was like boiling water, endlessly churning within Yi Chen's body. If he did not refine the dragon bone jade essence in time, then it was very likely that Yi Chen's body would explode, or it would break through the Zhen Yuan seal and disappear from the world. Another 4 hours passed, and it was already the middle of the night outside. Breakthrough. Crackle. A series of popping sounds rang out as a ring of formless and terrifying qi spread out from Yi Chen's body, stirring up circles of ripples. At the same time, the surface of Yi Chen's skin glowed with a resplendent greenish-red crystal light. Even his hair, facial features, and clothes were dyed with a greenish-red color, making him look like a greenish-red jade sculpture. Rank 3 Spirit Body. Done. The rank of the spirit body represented one's physical strength, and had little to do with the strength. Therefore, when Yi Chen's spirit body had increased from rank 2 to rank 3, his physical strength had increased drastically, allowing him to have more strength. It was like how a normal greatsword could only handle the Zhen Qi of a clasping Yuan realm warrior. If an astral-reaching realm warrior continued to use a normal greatsword, then the normal greatsword would break into pieces. Now that Yi Chen's spirit body had reached rank 3, Its strength had increased tremendously, allowing him to have more dragon power without worrying about not being able to handle it. With a breakthrough, the remaining dragon bone jade essence energy had all been refined into dragon power, merging with Yi Chen's cells and bones. Deep inside his body, it had become Yi Chen's own strength. However, the rank 3 spirit body had its limits as well. It could only have 400,000 jins of strength at most. After reaching 400,000 jins of strength, there was only about half of the dragon bone jade essence energy left. In other words, this half could only be wasted, unless Yi Chen could continue to increase the rank of his spirit body. However, it was impossible to continuously increase the rank of his spirit body in such a short period of time. It seems like my body's talent is not much different from normal martial geniuses. Before attaining the spirit body, my body's limit was around 100,000 jins. Rank 1 spirit body's limit was 200,000 jins, rank 2 300,000 jins, and rank 3 400,000 jins. This is the standard for most people. If it were Chu Zhongtian, then it would be horrifying. When he was still an astral-reaching realm warrior, his body's strength was equivalent to a rank 2 spirit body, or even a peak rank 2 spirit body. It was said that people were extremely talented, but obviously, Yi Chen was not that talented. His body's talent was only normal, and not some special body. Let's try the Dragon Bone defensive layer. Yi Chen did not know what the Dragon Bone defensive layer was, but he subconsciously tightened his body and activated his dragon power. Crack, crack. The dragon power seemed to have some kind of bone element. When it reached the surface of Yi Chen's skin, it immediately condensed, forming a thin layer of white bone, which had a faint green-red halo on its surface. Pap! Yi Chen poked his own arm with his finger, making a crisp sound of hard objects colliding. It's even more powerful than the protective Jin Yuan. But it will consume my dragon power. Standing up, Yi Chen let out a long breath. A faint pressure spread out, forming the shape of an ice flood dragon's dragon aura. There are still 7 dragon blood plants left, which I can't use. Whatever, my main focus is not on strength. As long as I am not weaker than others, it will be fine. I think Yang Fengfeng, Hai Wuya, and the others can only refine a little bit of the dragon blood plants. The rest can only be stored and used as my own wealth. When necessary, I can use them to barter. In the following period of time, Yi Chen focused all of his energy on the amaranthine nature and sky thunder cut. After a month, the amaranthine nature had finally reached perfection. Once he stabbed out, it was like a small plant sprouting in the spring. It was not eye-catching, but it could grow quickly. The sword power was continuous, using 90% of his power and leaving 10% behind. The remaining 10% could be used as a link, increasing the sword speed continuously. Meanwhile, the Sky Thundercut had also reached 110%. The Sky Thundercut was a sword move created by Yi Chen himself. In the beginning, it was indeed quite difficult, and the progress was slow. But, ever since Yi Chen reached the Sea of Soul Realm, his comprehension of the Sky Thundercut had gradually increased. It was like a skyscraper. Comprehending other people's profound martial arts was like laying the foundation for others, while creating one's own profound martial arts was like laying the foundation for oneself. In the beginning, it would waste a lot of time, but as time went on, the benefits of building one's own foundation would start to show. The most important thing was that the things created by oneself were undoubtedly the most suitable for oneself. On this day, Yi Chen had just arrived from the extreme Thai world. Pap! All of a sudden, one of the jade tags in his storage ring shattered. Taking out the jade tag, a smile appeared on Yi Chen's face. Murong has finally reached the Sea of Soul Realm and come to the Sky Martial region. This jade tag was the mother jade tag, and Murong Qingcheng had a sub-jade tag in her hand. Crushing the sub-jade tag would trigger the mother jade tag and cause it to shatter on its own. Murong had told me that when she broke through, she would wait for me in the Westling city of the Sky Martial region. She should be there right now. Leaving the mansion, Yi Chen sat on his flying puppet and flew toward the Westling city. The Westling city was a city near the south region of the Sky Martial region. There was a Westling restaurant in the city, which was one of the 2 most representative restaurants in the city. It often served famous powerful warriors. On the 5th floor of the restaurant, inside the lobby, a woman in a purple dress with a veil on her face was sitting by the window, enjoying her afternoon tea. The people sitting at the other tables would occasionally look over and glance at her. Such a unique aura. I wonder what she looks like under the veil. Definitely not bad. I wonder who would be lucky enough to see her face. While everyone was talking, 2 people walked out of the room next door. The one on the left was a handsome young man with green hair, wearing a green leather armor. The one on the right had grey hair and carried a battle blade on his back. They were indeed Duan Lungya and Lin Ku. Hey! I did not expect to see such high-quality goods in this place. Duan Lungya chuckled as he walked toward the woman in purple. Miss, I am Duan Lungya. May I know your name? Duan Lungya looked at the woman in purple with a smile on his face. His soul power quietly penetrated her veil, wanting to see her real face. Sir, you are being too impolite. The woman in purple pushed her soul power, blocking him from looking into her face. Lin Ku said, Brother Duan wants to make friends with you. I guess this is your first time in the Sky Marshal region, and you have not been to the pavilion yet. We can take you there. No need. My friend will take me there. Your friend? I would like to meet your friend. I think he would know me. You don't mind if I sit here, right? Duan Lungya saw that the woman in purple was only at mid-sea of Soul's realm, so he knew that his friend would not be that powerful. So, he sat down in front of her. The woman frowned as she stood up and said, Sorry, I have something else to do. I will leave now. Leaving now? Duan Lungya was not too happy about it. Lin Ku stood in front of Murong Ching Cheng. Boom. The woman in purple exchanged a palm attack with Lin Ku, and they were evenly matched. Interesting. Duan Lungya did not care too much about it. Lin Ku was good at blade arts, and the two were only testing each other. Of course, the woman in purple was indeed powerful. You want to leave? Sure, but let me see your face first. All of a sudden, Duan Lungya moved his body. He reached his hand towards the girl's face, trying to take off the black veil. He wanted to see what she looked like. From the outside, he could only see the outline of her face. Everyone around shook their heads, feeling sorry for the woman in purple. This Duan Lungya was a very good man. None of the women he had his eyes on could run away. Obviously, the woman in purple had piqued his curiosity, and he would not give up until he got what he wanted. Shoo! The purple-robed woman was extremely fast. She leaned back and passed through the window like a ghost, arriving outside the West Hill restaurant. Duan Lungya coldly snorted, None of the women I want can run away from me. Shoo! The temperature in the lobby dropped suddenly as Duan Lungya turned into a cold wind and chased after her. Chapter 601. All of a sudden, everyone's gaze landed on Yi Chen. Those who had never seen Yi Chen before also saw Yi Chen's real face for the first time. As one of the top 3 martial geniuses, Dan Tai Mingyu also looked over. Then, her eyes landed on Murong Ching Cheng, who was wearing a black mask. Brother Yi, finally, someone wants to challenge you. Hai Wuya laughed. Ling Tianhao said, Yi Chen, do not lose. Although he did not think that Yi Chen's power was more powerful than his head disciple Yang Fengfeng, who rarely fought with her real body, but since he could beat Lin Tian, he must have something up his sleeves. This Lan Xiecheng was only slightly more powerful than Lin Tian before, and there was no clear winner between them. Lan Xiecheng is very cunning, just like his battling style. Since he has made the 10 attacks agreement with you, he must want to get the upper hand within 10 attacks. Then, in everyone's eyes, Lan Xiecheng would be slightly more powerful than you. Yang Fengfeng had seen through the problem, so she reminded him. Yi Chen said, making the 10 attacks agreement, either he is not confident, or he is very confident. I hope it is the latter. What? Yi Chen, you do not dare to accept my challenge? Lan Xiecheng waved the fan in his hand as he walked out of the pavilion. Extending his body, Yi Chen lightly flew down from the top of the mountain, stepping on the surface of the 9-dragon lake. He opened his mouth and said, 10 attacks agreement. That is exactly what I want. Let's finish this quickly. All right. I would like to see how powerful the so-called number 1 warrior below the top 5 young warriors really are. In the end, Lan Xiecheng was not happy about being stepped on. But, just like Yang Fengfeng had said, he was very cunning. If Yi Chen was really powerful, then he would just be the stepping stone for the others, which was not what he wanted. Therefore, he said the 10 attacks agreement. He thought that within 10 attacks, even if he could not get the upper hand, he would not be at a disadvantage. But, he would let the situation be in his favor. Woo! Lan Xiecheng performed his flying art and shot toward the 9-dragon lake. On the way, he was still waving his fan. Besides the evil qi, he did look like a young master. In the middle of Jiulong Lake, the two stood 100 meters apart. Hall Master Mo, this Yi Chen also uses the sword. I wonder what level his attainment in the sword Dao has reached. The person who spoke was the leader of a rank 6 sect in the Misty Snow region, and the person he was talking to was the leader of the Misty Snow Hall, Snow Sword Master. Although 10 moves are short, I should be able to see something. Master Snow Sword was very emotional. Back then, when Yi Chen was being chased by the experts of the Ao family, she was able to instantly kill all the experts of the Ao family with a single sword strike. In just a few years, the genius sword artist who was being chased by the experts of the Ao family had already grown to a level where he could be mentioned in the same breath as her. Yi Chen, take this. On top of the lake, Lan Xiecheng's body was extremely fast as he flashed left and right, approaching Yi Chen in a curved way. The fan in his hand was raised up, attacking with unpredictable shadows. Clang! Yi Chen took out his gold sword and attacked as well. The first exchange of attacks between the two was just to test each other. Therefore, the battle was not that intense. It could only be said that there was a killing intent hidden within the calmness. Once the opponent could not hold on anymore, the calmness of the attack would be able to turn into a killing attack that could severely wound the opponent and end the battle with one attack. Misty Dream Flower. Lan Xiecheng was very good at the Misty Profound. He formed a spell with his left hand, causing the rolling mist to spread out with him as the center. Soon, it drowned Yi Chen within, turning the area within a few thousand meters in the middle of the lake into a thick mist area. What the hell? How can we see clearly like this? After Lan Xiecheng performed this attack, some of the people who were watching the battle yelled out. Normal mist would not be able to block the soul power detection, but the thick mist that was created by the Misty Profound had the effect of reducing soul power drastically. Therefore, they would not be able to notice some of the details. Countless misty flowers were formed as Lan Xiecheng stepped on them, attacking towards Yi Chen without making a sound. Every single movement was extremely weird and tricky. If most of the people were walking on the right path, then Lan Xiecheng would be walking on the wrong path, winning with surprise attacks. It was the first time for Yi Chen to fight with a young warrior like this, so he had a general understanding of his opponent's style. Break. A beam of sword qi broke through the thick mist, separating the lake water. Haha, it is useless. Close. Lan Xiecheng was shocked at Yi Chen's observation power. The latter had not only blocked out his attack, but had also thrown out a counterattack, breaking through the thick mist with one sword attack. Speed sword hell. Yi Chen's expression did not change at all. He had seen the whole bewilderment forbidden zone before, and Lan Xiecheng's Misty Dream Flower was just a simplified version of it. Shaking his wrist, Yi Chen performed his fastest sword art. That sharp sword qi filled up the thick mist before shooting out in all directions. Looking from outside, the thousands of meters of thick mist looked like a huge porcupine. That slim long sword qi was both fast and sharp. Huh! A groan was heard from within the thick mist as a human figure was blown out of it. Everyone looked over and found out that it was Lan Xiecheng. Right then, he looked a bit messed up, with a light footprint on his chest. Lan Xiecheng swallowed a mouthful of blood that he was about to puke out. Although that kick from Yi Chen was not some powerful martial art, the power contained in it had broken through his protective Jin Yuan and traveled into his armor, causing him a serious internal injury. Yi Chen, I have indeed underestimated you. I was too careless. Lan Xiecheng's expression did not look good. Stepping on the lake water, Yi Chen walked out of the thick mist slowly. He looked up and said, It has been 7 attacks now. You only have 3 left. If someone else wanted to take advantage of him, although Yi Chen was not a stingy person, he would not let them get away with it. Therefore, after performing his speed sword hell and combining it with his soul power, he was able to pinpoint Lan Xueqing's exact location very quickly. He then approached with his extreme speed. After exchanging 2 attacks, he kicked the latter out of the thick mist. Right now, everyone could tell that Yi Chen had the upper hand. All right, you have forced me to do this. Lan Xueqing did not plan to risk his life before, but right now, he had no other choice. His reputation was the most important thing to him, so how could he let himself lose to Yi Chen? Fog Ocean attack. Behind Lan Xueqing's back, a huge amount of dense fog poured out. This time, the fog did not spread out in all directions. Instead, it gathered behind Lan Xueqing, connecting with his back. It was like a small ocean of fog, rolling up and down, looking both real and fake at the same time. Boom! Stepping on the lake water, Lan Xueqing rushed toward Yi Chen in a straight line, which was rare for him. With the support of the fog ocean, he looked so powerful and unstoppable. This Lan Xueqing is indeed not to be underestimated. This fog ocean contains not only the fog profound, but also his aura. Under that attack, even the most aggressive young warriors would not be able to handle it. I wonder how Yi Chen is going to handle it. It was one of the top 3 master-level blade artists, Lin Chaonan, and the one he was talking to was the leader of the 3, Xie Beiting. Xie Beiting said lightly, Lan Xueqing should still have some tricks up his sleeves, right? He did not think that he could beat Yi Chen with just the power of the fog ocean. The lake water could not handle Lan Xueqing's aura anymore, so it was pushed to the sides. Lose. With a loud shout, Lan Xueqing waved out that jade-like fan in his hand. At the same time, the fog ocean behind him suddenly left Lan Xueqing's body in an even more aggressive manner, devouring Yi Chen immediately. It was like a flood, making a human's strength seem so weak. If it were a normal person, being attacked by an invisible fog ocean, they would be panicking for sure. Even someone with a calm mind would be affected a little. Not to mention that there was still Lan Xueqing's aggressive attack. Lan Xueqing's fog ocean attack was even more powerful. His reputation is not just for show. I don't think anyone would doubt his power anymore. After this battle, Yi Chen had established his position. There would be no lack of challenges in the future, but no one would doubt his power. Yi Chen, you are indeed my most powerful opponent. Du Guju watched this battle with a serious look on his face. Dantai Mingyu was a woman after all, and the battle between a woman and a man would be slightly different from the battle between men. It was an undeniable fact, and it was not because he looked down on women. Chapter 602. Yi Chen did not continue to chase after Lin Ku. Holding his gold sword, he stood in the air and stared at the cold-looking young man and the one with the mole on his forehead, saying coldly, "What a troublemaker. It is the first time we have met, and you have already given people the title of troublemaker. It seems like you are quite good at using it. When exchanging pointers, one should stop when the time is right. Don't you think that breaking his arm is too vicious, too vicious? If everyone was like you, how could the Tianwu domain be peaceful?" The youth with the red mole on his forehead seemed to be throbbing, his expression stern. He. Yi Chen could not help but laugh. If it were me who had lost my arm, would you still say that? Or would you just ignore it? The round-faced young man said, "It was you who lost an arm, so we'll naturally reprimand him. However, I believe in Lung Ye's character, and he naturally has his reasons for dealing with you. All right, surrender now and we'll spare your worthless life. We'll merely cripple you, and you won't be able to do anything in our hands. Don't struggle in vain, as struggling will only make you die faster." Scold him? Yi Chen couldn't help but laugh as he shook his head, his eyes turning cold. To be honest, you two are not qualified to uphold justice, because you are just 2 evil dogs. If you don't piss off, I'll skin you alive. Hearing him, everyone was shocked and could not help but suck in a cold breath. They had never seen anyone who dared to talk to Mu Yunhe and Lin Tian like this, calling them evil dogs. It should be known that Lin Tian and Mu Yunhe were the top young warriors below the top 5 young warriors, not something Duan Longya and Lin Ku could compare with. Of course, Yi Chen had also recognized Lin Tian and Mu Yunhe. Their strength was about the same, and they were even more powerful than Tai Shichong, one of the top 3 swordmasters. Before breaking through, he would definitely not be their opponent. Perhaps only Yang Fengfeng with her real strength would be able to compete with them. Unfortunately, for some unknown reason, Yang Fengfeng rarely showed her real body in front of others. She had only shown it once during the fight for the longevity fruit and the dragon cave. "What did you say?" The round-faced young man's face turned pale. He did not expect Yi Chen to say something like that. Who was he? He was the head disciple of the prison martial school, one of the top 5 young warriors. Except for the top 5 young warriors, no one could beat him. At most, they would be on par with him. And Yi Chen was just a new rising star. No one knew where he got the chance to beat Duan Longya and Lin Ku. "I dare you to say that again." Mu Yunhe's eyes were spitting fire. Lin Tian's expression also became cold, his killing intent soaring into the sky. "I said you two are evil dogs." Yi Chen's voice was so loud that it could be heard over half of West Tomb City. "This guy is going against the heavens." Lin Ku, who was on the side, widened his eyes and shuddered. As for Duan Longya, he had already fainted. Courting death. Mu Yunhe furiously roared and Jin Yuan erupted from his back, turning into multicolored clouds. His body was like a 1,000-year-old ferocious crane as he shuttled through the clouds. His 5 fingers spread open as if he was about to lift Yi Chen's head. This move didn't have any other profound mysteries, only speed. A ferocious bird hunting was extremely fast. Mu Yunhe was 10 times faster than even the most ferocious bird. His claws even more so extended out blood-colored radiance, tearing through the air, piercing through metal and stone, incomparably sinister. "Piss off." Raising his gold sword, Yi Chen simply slashed down. "Watch me take your sword." Mu Yunhe did not expect Yi Chen to react so fast, but it was not as if he did not have a backup plan. He flicked his wrist, trying to grab Yi Chen's gold sword. Unfortunately, Yi Chen's sword speed was just too fast, and he could not change his attack in time. Left with no other choice, he turned his claws into palms and shot out palm power. Boom! The huge sound was like 2 burning meteors crashing into each other. The sky above Xiling shook, and the entire space seemed like it was about to collapse. In the sky, a figure was blown down, blood spurting out of his mouth. "It's Mu Yunhe." Everyone was shocked to find that the injured person was Mu Yunhe, cut down by Yi Chen's sword. What is going on? Did Mu Yunhe underestimate his opponent? Even if he underestimated his opponent, he should not be this miserable. Look, Yi Chen is not moving at all. Not only were the spectators shocked, but Lin Ku was also shocked and took a step back. Lin Tian's eyes shrunk, filled with killing intent and fear. Thump! Mu Yunhe staggered on the street and couldn't help but take a few steps back. Each step caused the street to crack and the houses to collapse. Impossible, what kind of power is this? Mu Yunhe's chin was stained with blood as he stared at Yi Chen in the sky. Even Mu Yunhe is not Yi Chen's opponent. How shocking. Although Murong Qingcheng had never been to the Sky Martial region, she knew some of the geniuses there, such as the 5 young warriors and the 3 young swordmasters. Mu Yunhe's strength was second only to the 5 young warriors, but he was at least in the top 15. Apart from the 5 young warriors, there were less than 2 people who could compare to him, and only the 5 young warriors could injure him in one move. Mu Yunhe, if you know what's good for you, then get the hell out of Xiling City. Just now, Mu Yunhe had approached Yi Chen, which was equivalent to close-range combat. Yi Chen's current close-range combat was heaven-defying. He had 400,000 pounds of strength, and with his Jin Yuan, his offense was even scarier than when he used the dual sword style. You are also a bit stronger in close-range combat. I will not fight you in close-range combat. Let's see how you block my attacks. Mu Yunhe furiously roared. His figure rose from the ground and his 2 claws repeatedly waved, shooting out countless blood-red claws at Yi Chen. Break! Yi Chen held the gold sword with both hands and slashed down. A long sawtooth light wave shot upward, cleanly destroying the bloody claw imprints. However, Mu Yunhe was not Lin Ku, nor was he Duan Lungya. His cultivation base had already reached late sea of Soul Realm, and his Jin Yuan was incomparably vigorous. Each of his moves contained an immeasurable might. The sawtooth light wave shattered the bloody claw imprints, but it quickly dissipated without any effect. Shattering Yuan hand, Mu Yunhe's figure flickered, appearing even higher in the sky. His right hand spread open and fiercely pressed down on Yi Chen. Rumble. The space seemed to have caved in like mud. In the next moment, a scarlet palm descended from the sky, suffused with a bloody light. In a short moment, the scarlet palm grew larger and larger, almost covering the sky. It seemed as if it was going to crush Yi Chen and crush him into powder. This guy's will and profound are similar to Duan Lungya's, but his Jin Yuan is a small realm higher. His battle power is incomparable. However, if you don't engage in close combat, how will you defeat me? Any attack that approaches me, I can use my physical strength to destroy it. Catcher. When the scarlet palm was less than 10 meters away from Yi Chen exerted strength in both of his arms. The gold sword slashed upward, and the scarlet palm was shattered. With a swish, Yi Chen rushed out of the opening and arrived above the scarlet palm. The scarlet palm behind him disappeared like smoke. You broke my shattering Yuan hand just like that. Mu Yunhe was stunned for a split second. Impossible. Although body refinement experts are powerful, they don't have such reaction speed or insight. Moreover, my shattering Yuan hand has the power to suppress the opponent. I can only use 80% of my power at most. Now, it's my turn to counterattack. 5 sword lights appeared around his body. With a flash, Yi Chen's speed reached a level that even Mu Yunhe could not match. In an instant, he had reached 30 times the speed of sound. When he was at the peak of early sea of Soul Realm, Yi Chen's speed was close to 25 times the speed of sound. Now that he was at the peak of mid-sea of Soul Realm, his Jin Yuan quantity and purity had increased by a level. With a flicker, Yi Chen arrived beside Mu Yunhe. No. Mu Yunhe's reaction was not slow, and he subconsciously waved his palm to meet the attack. Go up. Unexpectedly, Yi Chen did not wave his sword with his right hand. Instead, he held the long sword at his waist with his left hand and slashed upward. A blazing lightning sword energy swept out. Crack. As if struck by lightning, Mu Yunhe spurted out a huge mouthful of blood as his body was flung back. Unable to withstand a single blow. Absolutely unable to withstand a single blow. The spectators below didn't expect the famous Mu Yunhe to be unable to withstand a single blow from Yi Chen. It would have been fine if Yi Chen didn't take the initiative to attack, but the moment he did, Mu Yunhe didn't even have a chance to counterattack. He could only passively take a beating. Enough. Lin Tian, who had been biding his time, could no longer watch. Without any movement, his entire body soared into the sky like a treasured blade. Rip! With a slash, an earthen yellow blade light surged toward Yi Chen like a surging river. The blade aura was exceptionally powerful. Yi Chen gave up on Mu Yunhe and slashed apart the earthen yellow blade light. I admit that your strength is not bad. However, it's better not to be too arrogant. Lin Tian gloomily looked at Yi Chen. Yi Chen sized up his opponent. He could sense that Lin Tian's cultivation base was the same as his, peak mid-sea of Soul Realm. However, the latter's essence chi was like a beacon, soaring into the sky. This was a sign that his strength was exceptionally powerful. You're also a body-refining expert. Try and you'll know. Lin Tian's gaze was cold. Brother Lin, cripple him for me. Mu Yunhe's clothes were tattered, and his chest was scorched black. He forcefully suppressed his heavily injured body and flew down, instructing Lin Tian. Lin Tian was different from him. The latter had cultivated body-refining martial arts since childhood and was extremely talented in this aspect. Thus, he mainly cultivated strength, with Jin Yuan as a support. Of course, the Lin family was one of the 4 great families, and they had spent a huge amount of resources to raise his Jin Yuan cultivation base to peak mid-sea of Soul Realm. With the combination of the two, Mu Yunhe had no choice but to admit that only by increasing the distance between them could he not be defeated. In close combat, He was not his opponent at all. However, thinking of Yi Chen, Mu Yunhe couldn't help but shiver. Did he mainly cultivate Zhen Yuan or strength? Both aspects were frighteningly powerful, simply breaking the balance. Don't worry. In close combat, I'm not afraid of anyone. Lin Tian replied. All right, I'll wait for your good news. Mu Yunhe clenched his fists and flew down with a pale complexion. Suddenly, he glanced at Murong Qingcheng and a sneer appeared on his face. Chapter 603. Yi Chen, who was hovering in the air, had no intention of letting Mu Yunhe go like this. He straightened his gold sword, and a ball of thunder energy traveled from the hilt to the tip, making the whole sword look like a lightning bolt. The end of the lightning was held in Yi Chen's hand, unable to escape. You dare! Lin Tian roared. Pap! Yi Chen ignored Lin Tian's warning and slashed down with his gold sword. Ever since Sky Thunder Cut reached completion, and from completion to 110%, it was no longer in the shape of a sword, but in the shape of a lightning bolt. A sharp lightning bolt suddenly struck down and struck Mu Yunhe's back, burning him black. His body stiffly fell on the roof of the West Hill restaurant, then slid down the roof and lay next to Duan Langya. Who the hell is this guy? Lin Ku already knew about Yi Chen's identity. The reason he said this was because Duan Langya and Mu Yunhe had fallen in Yi Chen's hands, and he himself had been heavily injured. He felt as if he was seeing Yi Chen for the first time. This kid is not easy to mess with. Duan Langya and Mu Yunhe have kicked an iron plate. Right, I still don't know his name. He seems to be in his early 20s, so he must have entered the Sea of Soul realm long ago. There are only 3 people who could do so at such a young age, Du Guju and Dantai Mingyu. We've seen their faces, so it can't be them. Then, there is only one person who fits the description, and he should be Yi Chen. Yi Chen? The monstrous Yi Chen whose name has spread throughout the whole Sky Martial region? 3 monstrous geniuses gathered in Sky Martial region. The future will be lively. Everyone sighed. In the sky, Lin Tian and Yi Chen stood 100 steps apart, facing each other. Very well, you've successfully angered me. Take this. Like a flying knife tearing through the air, Lin Tian rapidly approached Yi Chen. When he was 10 meters away from him, he gripped his knife hilt with both hands and slashed at Yi Chen with all his strength. The profound in this strike wasn't too profound, it was even inferior to Yi Chen's. However, Lin Tian didn't plan on relying on true essence or profound. What he poured into this strike was the terrifying strength that he was so proud of. Back off. A frightening roar rang out as the blade radiance appeared. Not necessarily. Also holding the gold sword with both of his hands, Yi Chen stepped forward with his right foot. He lowered his body and steadied his center of gravity. Deep inside his body, the dragon power flowed through his cells, bones, blood, and meridians like an erupting volcano, pouring into Yi Chen's arms. As Yi Chen yelled, he waved his gold sword and attacked. Clang! A deafening sound erupted. This sound could no longer be described as a sound in the world. If one had to describe it, it was like 2 metal meteorites that had been tempered by heavenly fire colliding together. Relying on this secret art, he could even exchange 3 moves with Xiao Chuhe, one of the top 5 young tycoons. Although he was defeated on the 4th move, it should be known that before he used the Tiger Demon secret blood art, he couldn't even take 1 move from Xiao Chuhe. However, the Tiger Demon's secret blood art's side effects were too great, and he was not a barbarian. His body's foundation was very strong. Therefore, unless it was absolutely necessary, he would not use the Tiger Demon's secret blood art. This was his 3rd time using it, and he had to defeat Yi Chen. Otherwise, in a few days, the news of his defeat would spread throughout the Sky Martial region. At his level, he could not allow himself to be defeated by someone else. The Tiger Demon's hidden blood art was a secret technique that stimulated and overdrafted one's potential. It also contained a saber technique. This saber technique was a saber technique that utilized vital force. It could condense all the strength in one's body into a single point and kill the opponent with a single strike. Whoosh! Raising his speed to the limit, Lin Tian's entire body was like a demonic tiger. The blood-colored patterns on his face looked extremely sinister. In his hand, the long blade sliced through the air, bringing with it a blood-colored blade light. With a thunderous momentum, it slashed out as fast as a blood-colored lightning. Lose. Lin Tian roared. The one who will lose is you. Yi Chen lowered his body like a hibernating dragon that was about to break free. Whoosh. The gold sword slashed out vertically, while the long sword in his left hand slashed out diagonally. Yi Chen rushed forward, clashing with Lin Tian. The moment the two clashed, the two swords perfectly crossed, lighting up the entire West Tomb City. Clang. Two swords and one blade fiercely clashed, wantonly releasing a berserk power. The owners of the two fiercely glared at each other, the muscles on their arms bulging out. Chapter 604. Through the demonic tiger secret blood art, Lin Tian's current offensive power was faintly surpassing Yi Chen's. The moment they clashed, he felt that the situation was in his favor, and a cold smile appeared on his face. However, that smile soon froze. Yi Chen's two swords crossed, and a thumb-sized thunderball appeared. This thunderball was dark blue in color, and the lightning it emitted was also dark blue in color. Countless zigzagging lightning bolts shot out, turning the area within 1,000 meters into a lightning zone. Bang! The thunderball's expanding speed surpassed Lin Tian's reaction. The thumb-sized thunderball instantly expanded several hundred times, then several thousand times. The resulting explosive power sent Lin Tian flying, and he felt as if all the bones in his body had been shattered. Moreover, he felt an intense numbness. The two clashed and then separated. Swish. The impact Yi Chen received was far less than Lin Tian. After retreating 100 meters, he stomped on the void and turned into a sword light. Not good. Lin Tian's muscles were numb, and he could only use 30 to 40% of his power. Forcibly resisting would only result in failure. Heaven Sieve Armor, release. At this critical moment, Lin Tian's protective Jin Yuan thickened by several inches, looking like a layer of glass. Meanwhile, the outline of a mysterious armor appeared within Lin Tian's robes. As the armor's outline appeared, mysterious runes appeared on the protective Jin Yuan. These runes were connected by fine threads and slowly revolved around Lin Tian. Half-step extreme grade armor. Yi Chen abruptly stopped his momentum. With the Heaven Sieve armor protecting me, I'm already in an invincible position. If this goes on, you'll lose without a doubt. Originally, Lin Tian didn't intend to use the Heaven Sieve armor. As far as he was concerned, apart from the 5 young tycoons, no one was worthy of him using it. Half-step extreme grade armor. This time, Yi Chen is in trouble. If he can't break the Heaven Sieve armor's defense, he won't be able to injure Lin Tian. Moreover, Lin Tian can attack without any restraint. If this goes on, Yi Chen will lose for sure. I heard that Lin Tian obtained the Sky Sieve armor from the Treasure Holy Pagoda. I wonder which level did he reach? No one looked at Lin Tiandong with disdain for using the Heaven Sieve armor to protect himself. To a cultivator, artifacts were also a part of one's strength. If everything was fair, then it would be unfair. After all, some artifacts were obtained by people who risked their lives to obtain them. Yi Chen sized up Lin Tian's barrier and said, "Forget it, I don't have much enmity with you. Let's call it a day. I only hope that you won't provoke me in the future." Crippling Duan Lungya was more than enough. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Yi Chen did not want to offend the Lin family, one of the top 4 families in the world. It was not necessary. You want to leave? Lin Tian's face was filled with anger. He indeed didn't have much enmity with Yi Chen, and Lin Ku was only slightly injured. He would be able to fully recover after a month or 2 of recuperation. However, his injuries could recover, but his reputation couldn't. Today, he definitely couldn't allow Yi Chen to leave safely. He, Lin Tian, couldn't lose. What, you want to fight with me? Yi Chen's eyebrows twitched. Yi Chen, could it be that you're afraid? Artifacts are also a part of power. My brother being able to obtain the Heaven Sieve armor is his own ability. No one will say anything. Below, Lin Ku's voice was heard, carrying a hint of pride. Lin Tian's expression also relaxed as he looked at Yi Chen with a mocking expression. Hee hee. Yi Chen chuckled, me, afraid? Since you want to fight, I'll accompany you. Buzz. The storage ring flickered with a dim light, and a dark blue, domineering sword appeared in Yi Chen's right hand. This sword had not yet been unsheathed, but the air was already filled with destructive lightning arcs. What? Semi-extreme grade sword. Lin Tian cried out in shock. Everyone's expression changed as well, especially Lin Ku. He wanted to say something, but he immediately shut his mouth, his face full of shock. Chin. Unsheathing the Thunder Disaster Sword, the sword's body flickered like lightning. Yi Chen looked straight at Lin Tian and said indifferently, Lin Tian, if you want to fight, let's fight. I'm not afraid. Damn it. How come he also has a semi-extreme grade artifact? Lin Tian cursed inwardly. What, you're giving up? Yi Chen saw Lin Tian's flickering gaze. Give up? How is that possible? Today, you and I must decide who's stronger. At this point, Lin Tian already had no way out. He could only fight. If he didn't fight, it would be more humiliating than losing. I'd like to see whether your semi-extreme grade sword is sharper or my Heaven Civ armor's defense is stronger. Demonic Tiger Blade. The Demonic Tiger Secret Blood ART's effect was still ongoing. Lin Tian roared and raised his blade with both hands, slashing at Yi Chen's blade. Breaking your defense is a piece of cake. Yi Chen didn't plan to clash head-on with the opponent. The latter was a body-refining expert who liked to clash head-on. However, Yi Chen wasn't. His previous clash was merely to test the limits of his offense. Now, he already knew the result. It was time to thoroughly defeat the opponent. Swish. With a flash of sword light, Yi Chen raised his speed to the limit and suddenly appeared on Lin Tian's right side. The Thunder Disaster Sword pierced forward, using the perfected amaranthine nature. The rune-covered barrier caved in a bit, and its edges had spider-web-like cracks. It looked like a transparent glass that was about to shatter. Seeing that Yi Chen didn't want to clash head-on, Lin Tian promptly waved his blade. However, what was cut was only an afterimage. In the past, when they fought with Hai Wuya, they always had the upper hand. Only when Yang Fengfeng was there would they not be able to gain the upper hand. But now that Yi Chen was here, they didn't even have the qualifications to fight. What frightened him the most was that a few months ago, Yi Chen was not his opponent at all. In a month, the incident in West Tomb City had spread throughout the whole Sky Marshal region. Everyone knew that there was a person called Yi Chen who had defeated Lin Ku, Duan Langya, Mu Yunhe, and Lin Tian. His strength had shocked all the geniuses. Dugu family, inside a quiet courtyard. Yi Chen, I didn't expect you to improve so fast. Right now, I am indeed not your opponent. But, this is just the beginning. Once I have the qualifications to challenge Xiao Chuhe, I will challenge you as well. Sitting under a tree, Dugu Ju's eyes shone brightly. One could see that compared to 2 months ago, Dugu Ju's Jin Yuan had become much richer, reaching the peak of mid-sea of Soul's realm. During the battle with Tai Shichong, he had just broken through to mid-sea of Soul's realm, and he didn't have the time to consolidate his cultivation base. Therefore, he couldn't use any treasures to increase his cultivation base to the peak of mid-sea of Soul's realm. Today, Yi Chen's incident in West Tomb City had spread to the Dugu family, and then to him through his cousin Dugu Ming. When he first heard the news, he was shocked as well. But, he soon calmed down, since it didn't matter much at the moment, since everyone was making progress. It was just a matter of how much progress they made. As far as Dugu Ju was concerned, only when one couldn't make any progress would the winner be decided. After all, every level had its limits. For example, one's Jin Yuan cultivation base could only reach the peak of late sea of Soul's realm at most, and one's profound could only reach the mid-rank profound at most. Normally, one's will would reach the peak of the 4th step, and those who could break through to the 5th step were few and far between. The top 5 young warriors had basically reached the point where they couldn't make any progress. Therefore, they were the most powerful among the young warriors. Even Lin Tian, who was close to the top 5 young warriors, couldn't handle a few attacks from Xiao Chuhe. Therefore, The top 5 young warriors stood at the peak of this level. If they wanted to catch up, they would have to reach the point where they couldn't make any progress. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.